What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
7AC. Chapter 111 The competition between origin magic power and reality gem. Advertise here. With contempt and disdain in his eyes. Such a look made Jane Foster feel bad all over. A feeling of displeasure spread out in his heart instantly, and he started to attack Wanda directly. Be careful, there's something wrong with this guy. Tony and others shouted hurriedly from the side. Although Jane is also an Earthling, the opponent's attack method does not belong to the Earth at all. It's not technology, it's definitely not physical mutation, it's not chi, like Kingpin and the others. In the eyes of everyone, Jane Foster seemed to have suddenly obtained a mysterious weapon, making it impossible for them to find the source of the energy. JARVIS scanned the opponent. Everything in my body is obviously normal, and there is no cell strengthening. But being able to carry out such an attack at any time is really confusing. Wanda ducked and avoided the opponent's invisible attack. You can't see this guy's attack at all, how can you fight like this? Jin Bin sensed the other party's chi, but there was no fluctuation at all. Originally relying on their energy to fight, they were almost helpless when facing Jane Foster. Jin Bin felt a little unhappy when he thought of this passive feeling. She didn't have any on-the-spot reaction, she simply relied on that powerful force to block our attack. Gwen couldn't help but speak. Her cobweb is very fast, but every time she is about to attack the opponent, she is blocked. Even if it's a position like the back that the other party didn't notice. It will disappear the moment it comes into contact with your body. And her attacks are also mysterious. If that doesn't work, let's ask Ailee to come over. 12 inches Nick Fury said at this time. Now Ailee is the strongest person on Earth, so he should have no problem dealing with the opponent. If we can't capture this woman in time, if something happens and one of the people present dies, it will be very troublesome. The most important thing is that the other party's influence on the Earth is indeed increasing. And they also saw that as time went by, this woman's strength seems to be slowly increasing. This feeling is like the other party is adapting to his own strength. She hasn't quite shown her full power yet. Tony didn't say anything when he heard this, and he didn't agree with Nick Fury's opinion. Everyone else basically has the same attitude. No. Gwen directly rejected Nick Fury's words and answered. It's impossible to let Ailee take action every time, we have to have our own methods. Does it mean that if anything happens in the future, he will have to step in? Besides, he is not our nanny. He also has his own things to do. Many times. Gwen has felt this powerlessness many times. In every battle, Ailee is at the front. All he can do is stand back and watch. At most, you can only fight some weaker soldiers. Powerless in the face of a powerful enemy. Ailee seemed to be studying something in retreat this time. They didn't bother because they had this idea. Everyone present thought this way. They have grown to this point and become stronger. Everyone has their own pride. But now without realizing it, he has turned into a little baby who can only hide behind Ailee. Now that Ailee is no longer here, can't we do it one by one? Then what should we do? This person's strength is no match for us. Seeing their persistence, Nick Fury asked helplessly. He is not a strong man, nor does he have the pride of a so-called hero. He is an agent. Nick Fury only knows that being able to deal with the enemy is the most important, and it doesn't matter what method he uses. He is a pragmatist. This definitely doesn't mean that Nick Fury doesn't want to solve it himself, but if a person has self-awareness, what can he do if he just can't do it? It's better to let Ailee come out, you are not qualified. Jane Foster heard the conversation and couldn't help but sneered. Her purpose is to avenge Thor. This group of people is not the focus, Ailee is the most important. But the delay in showing up has made her a little impatient. You cannot. Wanda looked at Jane and said aloud. We don't need Ailee to deal with you. One sentence almost broke Jane Foster's defense. She is clearly the one with the upper hand, but the other party actually says she is not good enough. It seems that if you don't kill a few people, you won't know who has the initiative. Jane Foster spoke to everyone in a cold voice, and then focused on Gwen. You should be Ailee's girlfriend, right? Ha. Then I'll let him feel how it feels when the person he likes dies. If you die, Ailee will definitely appear. While speaking, Jane Foster moved towards Gwen. Under the control of one hand, an invisible attack suddenly shot out. Her body didn't explode with any power, but the moment she started moving, powerful fluctuations burst out instantly. A very strange source of energy. It was precisely this weirdness that made everyone wonder how she did it. And it's hard to guard against. Most people gather their energy first and then take action, so they can detect and defend themselves in advance. But after Jane Foster took action, her energy exploded instantly, as if there was no need for buffering at all. Her power seems endless and makes people unable to guard against her. But at this moment, Wanda actually took action one step ahead. He moved his hands in front of him, and a red magic power directly blocked the attack. Her attacks can disintegrate everything that exists. Tony remembered Jane Foster's methods and quickly reminded. Just now Hulk was directly turned into a ribbon by the other party. The same goes for his energy attack. It was disintegrated as soon as it was touched, turning from a powerful energy cannon into a spark like a small match. It simply doesn't comply with the laws of energy and is extremely weird. Must hide. Tony stopped talking because he discovered that Wanda was successful. The moment the red magic power came into contact with the opponent's attack, it actually decomposed the opponent's energy. When the two attacks came into contact, they were separated in an instant. But the difference is that Wanda's magic power still exists and is particularly powerful, but the other party has completely dissipated. How come? Not only were they surprised, Jane Foster also stared at Wanda in surprise. Her power has never failed at all. Anything touched by her power will be decomposed and shapeshifted according to his wishes. The energy cannon turned into a match, the Hulk turned into a ribbon, and Malekith's body disappeared with the dissipation of her mind. But Wanda's attack actually dissipated her own attack. It's as if the other party's magic power can change all realities just like your own. Tie particles, also known as reality gem, all scientific codes and natural laws are meaningless in front of it, because it can modify them at will. Wanda looked at Jane Foster and said, not at all happy because she had the upper hand. On the contrary, he acted as he should, with the confidence that everything is under control. The reality stone is not only able to create illusions that are indistinguishable from reality. As long as the user is willing, it can make illusions come true, turning all illusions into real reality. As soon as these words came out, everyone understood instantly. Tony was the quickest to understand. No wonder he felt that the opponent's attack did not comply with the law of energy. Because this thing has changed the rules of science and the laws of nature. Practice falsehoods and turn them into reality. As long as it is the other person's wishes, you can turn illusion into reality. Is this the power of reality gem, infinite gems? It's incredible. This gem is perhaps the most powerful, but also the most difficult to use. Wanda continued to speak, looking at Jane Foster's darkened face and spoke. But unfortunately, your original strength is too weak. It is very surprising that you can control tie particles. 453 inches and wanting to fully demonstrate this power is undoubtedly a fool's errand. If the alien just got this thing, it might show more strength and make it more difficult for people. But you, originally were too weak. Enough. Jane Foster did not expect that she would be called worthless by the other party. After being interrupted angrily, Jane Foster raised her hand and increased her strength. So what if you know, you still can't be my opponent? You are all going to die here. Increasing her will, Jane Foster imagined Wanda's death, imagining her transformation into a horse. The power of reality gem began to show, and the powerful energy instantly enveloped everything around it. The next moment, a burst of energy directly surrounded Wanda's body. According to Jane Foster's ideas, Wanda's structure seems to be beginning to change. But at this moment, the red magic power on Wanda appeared again. The powerful magic power actually withstood the power of reality gem. Coincidentally, my magic power also happens to be able to alter reality. After Wanda finished speaking, she abruptly increased her magic power again. She learned origin magic power from Sithorn, the god of the underworld, and also gained the powerful origin magic power. Although she hasn't completely mastered it yet, she writes that she is completely different now than she was in the past. There is no doubt that Wanda is sure that her current strength is definitely the most powerful among everyone. The two forces of alter reality began to touch, and the powerful impact caused everyone around to turn around and run away. Everything here is starting to go wrong, and you can't afford to mess with it. The tall buildings became as soft as plasticine, the cars turned into strollers, and the earth seemed to turn into mud. Everything is changing according to their subconscious thoughts, but the two of them themselves have not changed at all. Chapter 112. Gwen takes the initiative. Don't move, let me do it. Advertise here. The impact of huge energy continued. This scene caused everyone to be stunned. Good guy, when did Wanda become so strong? Is she going for special training? Tony and the others ran away and looked at the situation on the field and said. Let me just say that she hasn't appeared for more than half a year. Ai has also been in seclusion for half a year. It turns out that she went to strengthen on her own. Jin Bing also nodded. How could it become so powerful now without strengthening? With one hand of magic, he actually used those infinite gems to fight. Gwen didn't speak, watching this scene silently. Wanda got started even later than she did. Although his current strength has also improved, there is no obvious qualitative change. But Wanda is already strong enough to fight against the infinite gems. It seems that I really need to practice hard. She knew that she relied on spider genes. So becoming stronger is genetically the fastest, but Gwen doesn't want to gamble, she is afraid that she will become like Peter Parker. After all, she is a woman, and it is not appropriate to act like that just to become stronger. So there was only one way left, the practice method given to her by Ai. But she had always been concerned about issues such as her studies, and she didn't have much time to practice, so she was wasted. Now, it is the result of delaying cultivation. What happened? While everyone was still observing, a suspicious voice suddenly sounded. Everyone was startled when they heard this voice, and then couldn't help but turn their heads excitedly. Ai, you're back. Kingpin looked at him and asked in shock. Yes, I'm just practicing in seclusion, I'm not dead. Ai answered naturally. He even didn't understand Jin Bin's shock. It doesn't mean that you can't meet people if you are in seclusion. If you have something to ask for, just go to him directly. It is certain that the call cannot be connected. His practice has caused the energy fluctuations around him to be extremely large. There is no way any signal or anything like that would be effective. This is. Ai cast his gaze on the field and noticed that Gwen was a little surprised at the battle with Jane Foster. These two can also fight. Then I understood it based on the explanations of a few people next to me. It turns out that the girlfriend came to take revenge on her boyfriend. I didn't expect that the relationship between these two people was so deep. Lee, don't you go and help. Tony couldn't help asking when he saw that Lee was not planning to do anything. Don't worry, let's take a look first. Lee replied. It's rare that her strength has improved so much. How can she release more than half a year of practice without a good fight? Cultivation is to improve yourself and fight against more powerful beings. It can be solved by taking action yourself, but what happens next? So what's the point of Wanda's promotion? Gwen was stunned when she heard Lee's words, then turned to look at the field. Wanda actually had a smile on her face. It turned out that she was really enjoying this battle. The battle between the two continues. But it seems that Jane Foster's control over infinite gems is gradually increasing, and she actually doesn't have the upper hand. It's hard to believe that Wanda's chaos force never faced the other party. She didn't let go, Lee said helplessly after seeing this scene. On Earth, Wanda's fighting style is still somewhat unresolved. That's right, she is also afraid that her actions will be too big and cause problems on the Earth. Although Jane Foster is also an Earthling, the other person has gone crazy and has completely forgotten her identity as an Earthling and is desperate. And Wanda worries too much. Her current control over origin magic power is not that fine. She couldn't move freely, so she was afraid that she couldn't help but use her ultimate move in a high-intensity battle. Then a powerful force swept the entire New York. No, if Wanda's current strength is enough, she can even take away the Earth directly. The premise is that those special ancient gods don't take action. If the place were changed and Wanda and the other party were allowed to fight on other planets, the current situation might be different. Lee. Wanda is still fighting, worried about everyone's safety. She doesn't dare to fight with all her strength. He even glanced at other people distractedly. When she noticed that Lee was there, she was extremely surprised and smiled with surprise. Then he shouted subconsciously. Hearing this name, Jane Foster was shocked. Huge amounts of hatred instantly covered up all her rationality. In an instant, she magnified the power of reality gem again. The cost was that her entire skin began to overflow with blood. The blood from her ears, nose and mouth fell down. She is forcing herself to use more strength, but the price is that her body cannot bear it. The sudden burst of power forced Wanda, who was distracted, to take a step back. His body was also shaken, and then he felt the other party's power sweeping toward him. You can be distracted during the battle. Lee teleported and appeared in front of Wanda. He directly embraced Wanda in his arms, and then moved her to a position behind him, blocking the opponent's gem power. The invisible power was directly dispersed by Lee's divine power without causing any ripples. Lee, you finally came out. I thought you would only hide behind women. After the furious Jane Foster saw Lee, she immediately shouted angrily. In her opinion, her boyfriend Thor died and it was all his fault. As an astrophysicist, she was able to meet a person from Asgard. This was something that made her happy. And the two even became a couple. The other party is the Prince of Asgard, the legendary Thor. Everything seems to be going for the better. She may be able to become Asgard's wife. Future, Thor's wife. But just like that, Thor was killed. This was simply unacceptable to her. Let me kill you and avenge Thor. Jane Foster is already a little crazy and doesn't care about her own strength or Lee's combat power. Even if the blow just now was blocked casually by Lee, she didn't care. She was going to kill Lee. Thor was resurrected once she knew. So I can continue to resurrect. As long as I can continue, maybe I can kill Lee and be able to resurrect. Lee looked at the other party who was in a state of madness and shook his head helplessly. It is really shameful for an Earthling to go this far for aliens. Don't you care about reproductive isolation? You still want to become the wife of the other party, but they are Asgardians. Their lifespan is longer than that of the Earth. Not to mention that Thor's lifespan is no problem for more than 10,000 years. Marrying an Earthling like you. This kind of thing is simply impossible to happen. Just for fun, Earth girl, you think too much. Blacken was actually able to control the reality gem. Sure enough, Love Brain can't be offended. Blacken is countless times stronger. Die to me. How could Jane Foster care so much and think so much? She is an astrophysicist, not a biologist. She only knows that all her plans have been in vain. Driving the powerful reality gem. Jane Foster's power was fully revealed, and the sudden burst of power actually affected the entire New York. Then this force swept towards Lee. She was imagining making Lee a paramecium without power. In this way, she can directly crush the opponent. Wanda stood behind Lee without worrying about the other person's safety. Instead, she looked at him in front of her in a daze. It's been a long time since I've been held in someone's arms like this. She didn't know why. After such a long time, she actually felt a warmth and peace of mind in the other person's body. The most important thing is that it fits Lee's body. Wanda's heartbeat accelerated to a point that she couldn't even believe. In her eyes, it was as if Lee was the only one left in the world. What a powerful wave. How did this woman do it? Tony and others were shocked when they saw this scene. They also know that this is because the other party uses the reality gem of infinite gems. But the problem is, it's not like they haven't taken infinite gems. For example, the space gem is the former Tesseract. Everyone present, including Nick Fury, Tony and others, have held it. But never has such a powerful force been used. And Jane Foster is just an ordinary human woman, but she is able to unleash such powerful power. Could it be that her ancestors had some extraordinary connections? This power seems to make my heart tremble, a strange power. Jin Bin didn't nod either. He took the same route as Ai Li, but was different from the others. His physical strength is definitely the strongest among the people present. But feeling the impact of the reality gem's power, he couldn't help but feel his shoulders sink, as if he couldn't resist. This power made him feel frightened. It seems that I still have to continue to improve my training time. Can Ai Li do it? Jian Yong'e is the emperor of infinite gems. Nick Fury was a little worried. After all, they already knew. Infinite gems are one of the most powerful artifacts. It is the embodiment of the rules of the universe. It can almost be said that power can affect the entire universe. Ai Li is very strong, but he is still human. What the other party holds is the power of the universe. In everyone's understanding, no matter how powerful a person is, they can never confront the power of the universe. This is like an ordinary person standing in a violent storm. To fight against the roar of thunder rolling in the sky, to resist the divine thunder. It's like a person has to fight against nature. And Ai Li not only had to resist the divine thunder, but also directly dispersed the thunder and lightning. This is not Thor or anything like that. The other person is also an alien, but with the added title of God. What Jane Foster holds is the manifested gem of the rule of the universe. No problem, trust him. Gwen said affirmatively. After all, Ai Li never loses. Destroy. The truth is exactly what Wanda thought. The opponent is very strong, but unfortunately it is not so strong that it cannot be resisted. There are many people who can sanction Jane Foster. He just said that if Wanda next to her really lets go and fights. The power of origin magic power can directly kill the opponent without any problem. It's just that she doesn't want to. Divine power tumbling down pointing arrow. Under the attack of reality gem, Ai Li is just a finger pointing. Divine power instantly emitted from his body, and the moment it appeared, a force in the universe was also deployed and controlled by him. How so? How could I lose? Impossible. Simple. Foster looked in front of him blankly. Everything I imagined didn't happen. TIE particles seemed to have no reaction and turned into ordinary stones, just staying there silently. And his body began to slowly collapse. In huge amounts of pain, it turns into countless purple particles and disappears. She could no longer feel the severe pain because she had been stuck in self-doubt and didn't understand why she lost. TIE particles are obviously so powerful. Malekith has said about the strength of this thing. She really felt it. How could she be killed instantly by the other party? Jane Foster never figured it out, and no one would explain it to her. In the end, she didn't even have time to beg for mercy, and was completely wiped out. This annihilation was not only the disintegration of the body, but also the soul was completely destroyed by Ai Li. The power of the god of destruction is to completely erase the opponent from the root and dissipate it from 1 to 0. A simple finger made everyone around him confused. Everyone thought Ai Li could win, but never thought it would be so successful. We fought to the death for so long but still couldn't win against each other. When you came out, you pointed, said, destroy, and it was over. Tony, Nick Fury and others shivered subconsciously. How strong does this guy have to be to do this? What level of strength does he have? Wanda, who was relying on Ai Li, looked at him blankly. Her confident and indifferent behavior made Ai Li a god in her eyes. At this moment, Wanda suddenly remembered what Gwen said to herself a long time ago. If you like it, go for it. Gwen won't stop. If I want it, will Ai Li agree to it? Ai Li stretched out his palm, and TIE particles were already held in his hands, turning into the appearance of reality gem. Throwing it directly into the crack in his own space, this time there was another gem. It seems that the only thing left that I haven't gotten is the soul gem. The time gem is at Ancient One and can be obtained at any time. Thanos has been looking for the gems for so long, and he just found them all by himself. The battle ended, and New York began to recover again. Ai Li did not use the power of time to recover. This is what Tony and others want. Because they need to use this kind of battle to let all people on Earth understand. Now that the Earth is strong enough to fight aliens, this is a very effective cardiotonic. In addition, this can also give some people a sense of crisis and make them aware of the power of people outside. If it were to be restored directly to its original state, it would definitely make many people feel that strength does not matter. Anyway, the great god Ai Li protects the Earth, so it is very safe. Inside the villa, it's time for everyone to go back. Wanda went to talk to Quicksilver. The two siblings had not seen each other for such a long time and they really needed to have a good chat with each other. Wanda also wants to push Quicksilver's strength. My sister is so strong, how can you, the person who claims to be your brother, every day, still paddling? So when Ai Li returned to the villa, only Gwen followed her. What's wrong? You're so depressed. Don't you want me to come back? Ai Li saw that Gwen was in a bad mood, so she asked with a smile. I definitely want you back, but Gwen said a little depressed. I just feel like I'm useless now. I can't even interfere in your fight. He laughed when he heard this. It turned out that he was worried about his own strength. Don't think so. Everyone has their own meaning of existence, and not everyone is invincible. Why? Gwen, your focus is to protect the Earth. On the Earth, you are the real hero. And what I have to face are many special beings. Their strength is beyond your imagination, so it's not your problem that you can't beat them, but this is the most normal thing. But Wanda. Gwen felt a little uncomfortable thinking about Wanda's strength. The other party was younger than her, but she had already, in such a short period of time. This sense of gap made her feel that she was too far behind. But you have me. Ai Li smiled. Huh. Gwen looked up at Ai Li and was startled after hearing what the other person said. Then, yes, I have Ai Li by my side. As if she was half moved by Ai Li, Gwen pressed directly on him. Then the whole person leaned against him. Do not move. Ai Li was about to turn over, but Gwen pressed him with both hands to stop him. Under Ai Li's strange gaze, Gwen continued to talk. I come. Chapter 113. Pool contact. Wanda becomes emotional. Advertise here. Ai Li, it's been half a year. Ai Li's retreat lasted for a long time. For half a year, Gwen missed Ai Li very much. Although it was a fleeting moment for him when he was practicing. But for Gwen, it was countless days and nights. Outside, Wanda, who came back, noticed something was wrong as soon as she walked in. This also made Wanda look embarrassed for a moment. Thinking of Ai Li and Gwen being together again, she felt a little unhappy because she felt that she also liked Ai Li. Then she hurriedly walked to the bedroom. I won't be discovered, I only use magic. Origin magic power Ai Li should not be able to perceive. The more she thought about it, the more she had this urge. At the next moment, Wanda couldn't help but directly activated her magic power. In an instant, what happened next door came to mind. Ai Li was stunned for a moment, noticing the magic power just emitted, and instantly knew that Wanda next door had just been peeking. But I can't control the other party now, I'm busy here. After Wanda sobered up, she felt that it was useless to bring a bathroom. Cold water can't extinguish the fire in her heart. So I changed my clothes and left the villa directly. After reaching the backyard, I entered the swimming pool and started to calm down. Gwen is gone. When Ai Li took her on the balcony of the bedroom on the second floor. The moment she found Wanda resting in the swimming pool, she couldn't stay still. He sprinted away and left the villa, saying he wanted to go back and practice hard. Ai Li was startled. This cultivation can be done in the villa. Why go back? And you said you haven't seen me for more than half a year, but now you turn around and leave. Sure enough, it was ruthless afterwards. Reality Gem 547. After several battles, Ai Li also calmed down and began to study the Thai particles he had just obtained. No, it should be gemstones for sale now. The power of this gemstone is very special. Compared with other gemstones. The focus of Space Gem is the control of space, while Time Gem is the concept of time rules. The Power Gem simply increases the user's power. This power does not correspond to simple physical power, such as one move with multiple powers, etc. Instead, increase all the power you have. Even Ai Li's energy can be absorbed by it. The Mind Gem is the focus of strengthening the mental body and can also control the effects of other people. I haven't gotten the Soul Gem Ai Li yet, but it is related to the soul. It should focus on enhancing the power of the soul and controlling the soul. Only Reality Gem is the most special. Because it's about the difference between fantasy and reality, about turning perception into reality. This gem is almost the most powerful of the infinite gems, but it is also the most difficult to use. Using it, people can realize any dream. But you need to be able to master his power. To put it simply, the more powerful you are, the more powerful you will be by controlling it. Vice versa. Isn't this just? I am looking for the power of thinking. Whatever I think about is whatever I want, and there is nothing I can't do. Ai Li couldn't help but smile when she thought of this. No matter what you think, if you think you are Superman, wouldn't you be Superman? Definitely, gems are also limited and cannot exist beyond a certain level. Could it be that he thinks that he is above the universe and then transcends to become the second OAA? Reality Gem can help him complete it. It may give you BCFE, an illusory scene, but it cannot be realized. But the power of this gem is not weak, and Ai Li needs to study it carefully. Your research on Reality Gem has enabled you to understand the difference between reality and illusion. With the help of the destructive power of God's control skills, you can more easily find the use of divine power. Combining the two, you have an epiphany. You understand. The law of creation is out. Creation method. The creation method originated from the great priest, which can create things out of thin air and master the ability of preliminary creation. Close black lens bracket. Ai Li opened her eyes and felt a little surprised at the cultivation method she had just learned. Create something out of thin air. It's Angel's creation ability. Ai Li took back the reality gem. After no longer using the power of the gem, he looked at the empty place in front of him. Next moment, his thoughts moved, he raised his hand and turned. An ordinary pistol appeared in his hand. Feel all the changes around you. No energy was consumed, and nothing disappeared into this pistol. In other words, it is simply something he created based on his own imagination. What if it's a living thing? Ai Li thought she needed a puppy, and sure enough, a puppy appeared the next moment. But, this puppy is a dead thing, not a dead thing. He has no soul consciousness, nor any spiritual body. Just the body of a puppy. After trying many times, I finally came up with the result. The creation law can only create dead things, but cannot create living things. Among dead things, anything Ai Li knows can be made. And he doesn't need to know the principles and structure. As long as it's something he can imagine and the shape is okay, he can create it directly. For example, Lee is imagining an atomic bomb, but he can directly create it without knowing the structure of the atomic bomb. It can definitely be used as well. He had also wondered at the beginning why he could successfully create it even though he didn't know its structure. Shouldn't it be necessary to create an empty shell? Then I figured it out through constant trying. The moment he creates, a divine power will be directly used by him from the universe. And this magical power seems to be able to automatically read Lee's thoughts, find something that matches it, and then create it. In other words, what he needs is to imagine that the real existence will have the divine will of the universe to help you find the correspondence. Easy to use and convenient. It's a pity that if the intensity is too much and exceeds Lee's strength, then this thing cannot be manufactured. Soul gem. Lee tried to create a soul gem, but strangely the soul gem did not appear. What was created was just an ordinary gem with a little energy. Why is this? Is soul gem special? Tried to make other gems, unexpectedly. Like he can create several other gems. After thinking for a while, Lee reached out and pointed at the thing he had created below. Destroy. The next moment, everything he created was annihilated and ceased to exist. He actually had an idea just now. That is to give each of these gems that you create one. Like Gwen, Wanda, etc., give one to everyone. But then I hesitated for a moment and put down the idea for the time being. It's not that he is reluctant to part with it. Since he can make this thing, he can have as many as he wants. What he cares about is that in the near future, he may have to leave the Earth. No, to be precise, leave this timeline. And if I weren't here and someone knew about the gems in their hands, it would be troublesome. For example, Thanos will definitely not miss this opportunity. He can take down Thanos, but what about the rest? In the vast universe, I really thought Thanos was the only one staring at the infinite gems. So he planned to slightly adjust the gems to make them more convenient before giving them to them. It won't take long. After all, Lee has the ability to create things. It's not difficult to do this. Without a soul, this creation method will still create dead things after all. If it can create living things. Lee was suddenly stunned. If he could really create living creatures, wouldn't he become a real god? No, in Marvel, it should be OAA. This difficulty should not be easy, but Lee has a little direction, that is soul gem. According to memory, it should be on a strange planet where the former Red Skull was guarding. Tried teleportation, but failed. It seems there are some restrictions. This soul gem was so mysterious that it aroused his curiosity. 2. After all, things related to the soul will always be weird. After solving these, Lee's mind wandered and he saw Wanda resting in the swimming pool. Then he dodged and reached the swimming pool directly. He just finished his work and didn't need to change his clothes. A pair of big pants were just right. After all, who wears a suit with a collar when swimming in the pool, or a long-sleeved top? As soon as you enter the swimming pool, the first thing Lee saw was Wanda. I have to say that after half a year, Wang Tian's figure has become even more perfect. There is not a trace of fat under the bulging front and back. The fiery red hair adds a lot of charm. Although he is not very old, he is only 19 years old, but the other party has an extra sexy and enchanting look. A variety of combinations, not only do not have any sense of disharmony, but they appear very harmonious to each other. Especially the figure of the other party, Lee couldn't help but take a few more glances after noticing it, not wanting to waste this opportunity. Wanda was resting in the swimming pool, trying to use the water to calm down. Slowly, my heart finally became calmer. Lying casually in the swimming pool to rest, she will not sink on the horizontal surface. Hai Zhang was thinking about his future, especially his feelings for Lee. She didn't want to be a meddler in Gwen and Lee's relationship. But the problem is, Gwen also took the initiative to find her and asked her to be with Lee, expressing that she didn't mind. Wanda didn't understand it at first, but now she understands. It turns out that Lee is so awesome. Then can I really do it? What if Gwen was testing herself? While thinking about this, Lee suddenly appeared in the swimming pool. And the other party's eyes fell on him, as if he wanted to eat him. Suddenly, Tianjun felt a little shy. Normally, if she was in the swimming pool with Lee, she would never feel this way. But just after what happened today, the glance of the other party's eyes made my heart a little more rippled. Chapter 114 Wanda sacrifices herself in the swimming pool, and the real Ultron appears. Advertise here. Sister Gwen has gone back. Wanda buried her entire body in the swimming pool, with only her little head showing, looking at Lee, and asked aloud. After finishing speaking, even his face sank a little subconsciously. It just stuck on the lip, blowing bubbles in the swimming pool. Gone back. While Lee was talking, she was swimming casually in the swimming pool. The distance is getting closer and closer to Wanda. When the distance is almost close, Lee couldn't bear it anymore and pulled the other person into his arms. The two of them stuck together tightly. You. Wanda only felt physically and mentally for a while, and then she began to lose track of what to say, and there was a bit of shyness in her gibberish. His complexion also began to turn completely rosy. Just a hug. Lee held her in his arms, put his head on Wanda's shoulder from behind, and said aloud. When he spoke, he closed his eyes slightly, enjoying the quiet time. Wanda was still a little overwhelmed. But suddenly I felt the calm breathing on my neck, and I couldn't help but glance at it. When I saw Lee's action, I was slightly stunned. He must be very tired, right? Subconsciously, Wanda was brought into Lee's perspective and watched everything that happened. Constant fighting, various enemies. While others are enjoying everything, he is fighting. While others are resting, he is fighting. It was as if his life was born for fighting. During the few breaks, Lee was also practicing his own strength without stopping. Even a strong man cannot bear such a life. If the average person's willpower can withstand it, they will probably go crazy. Thinking of this, Wanda couldn't help but caress Lee's body, as if she wanted to comfort him. Don't make trouble. Lee opened his eyes slightly and said to Wanda. Yeah, Wanda nodded. Then he put his hand on Lee's head. This action was like a mother stroking her child's head. Someone once said that in fact, every man has a little feeling of liking his mother in his heart. This is because what they need is love and care. Therefore, if the girl you like takes on the role of mother to give men half the care of motherly love, then the relationship between these two people will grow by leaps and bounds. This is also the reason why it is said that women chase men's spacer yarn. You are playing with fire. Lee's voice suddenly became thicker and he said to her. I suppressed my thoughts and did not dare to take a step beyond the thunder pool. And she actually had the audacity to cross the line on her own. Lee, I like you. Love me, okay. Wanda tried her best to tilt her head back, looked at Lee directly above her, and spoke seriously. So, Lee couldn't bear it anymore and stood up and hugged him. He teleported back to his room. Don't be here, go to my place. Wanda seemed to think of what happened between Lee and Gwen before. As soon as he saw the surrounding environment clearly, he said to Lee. Go to each other's room. Lee threw it away, and then he didn't even use teleportation. He hit it hard. The whole person hit the third floor from the second floor, then backed away from the door next door, and the two of them entered. Tonight is destined to be an unforgettable night. On the other side, after what happened today, Tony and Banner did not break up and go back. But they all had their own thoughts, and finally came here one by one. Stark Building. This is now their gathering place, and it is also the conference center for high-level world governments. Definitely, apart from the participants from those countries, the so-called high-level people are just them. The silence of each one made the atmosphere a bit depressing. Perhaps, we rely too much on Lee, Tony sighed and said. With him taking the lead, the others couldn't help but think of what happened today. Without Lee, without Wanda, so what should they do? It's not that they are not grateful for the existence of Lee, but as a member of the Earth, they identify themselves as Asgardian existences. Unable to resist when faced with danger. This is undoubtedly a very frustrating thing. We need a strong person who can protect the Earth at all times. The future of Lee. Nick Fury also stood up and spoke at this time. It belongs to the universe, or to the wider world, and the Earth cannot restrain him. He is an agent leader, and he can see people's hearts more easily. He knew that Lee's stay on the Earth was actually a little bond, which made him subconsciously want to stay. These bonds include Wanda, Kingpin, Gwen, etc. But that definitely doesn't include Nick Fury, Tony, Dr. Banner and the humans on Earth. Wanda's strength has surpassed theirs, Gwen has the protection of the other party, and Kingpin will also go to the universe. In this way, Lee will naturally go to a stronger place by then. The Earth will not have a more suitable protector then. Rely on them. To be honest, Nick Fury feels that no one on Earth is suitable right now. But the premise of being strong is too difficult, whether it's the ability to cultivate chi or the advancement of technology. It all takes time. Tony definitely understood this and spoke helplessly. Is it possible to create a replica? Dr. Banner suddenly asked. Impossible. Who are you trying to copy? Lee, do you think it's possible? Tony refuted the suggestion immediately. Don't be kidding, don't say whether Lee agrees or not. Their hearts alone reject it. The matter of cloning is the biggest taboo, and there will be no unanimous agreement from any point of view. What if? I mean artificial intelligence. Suddenly, Tony's eyes were set on Jarvis. Then he asked everyone, is it okay if we use artificial intelligence? This works. Artificial intelligence simulates and learns everything about strong people. Although chi is very mysterious, artificial intelligence can analyze more factors of strength. Maybe it can also learn the existence of chi. We have a lot of information, including scientific and technological knowledge in the universe. Although Xandar does not have such artificial intelligence warriors, they have studied it and succeeded. And Mind Gem, yes, we also have a little bit of research information on it that we can add to it. Coupled with Jarvis's current computing power, it is completely possible to create an artificial intelligence. As he talked to himself, the more Tony talked, the more feasible he felt. Everyone listened to his words, not sure whether they could succeed. Because they are not experts. But Tony's so-called success is enough to make them recognize it. Dr. Banner also nodded repeatedly, and after hitting it off, everyone also provided help and let them start research. Although the technology on Earth today is not as good as what exists in the universe. But that's just not learned. But Tony has been learning this for more than half a year, even if he hasn't completely mastered some parts. But I can also get a general idea. If there are any difficulties, just slowly find solutions. What's more, there is Dr. Banner's auxiliary research around. Jarvis, the Artificial Intelligence Auxiliary Work Blessing. Not just the two of them, they are now the top leaders of the world government. There are countless scientific circles and powerful scholars below them who can help them with their research and judgment. The wisdom of the entire Earth and the scientific level of the universe create a robot. It doesn't seem like it's impossible. Looking at the busy people, Nick Fury did not interfere. Because he is not an expert in this field, he is more of an agent. Do not know why. At this time Nick Fury had an ominous premonition. But he couldn't tell it, because he knew that everyone's research was now done with enthusiasm. If you interrupt yourself, or go down the slope to get cold water, not only will he not stop their research, but they will feel that he is trying to cause trouble. Then squeezing it out of this research leads to more things going on inside that he can't even see. What he worries about is simple. This is also what Tony said just now. The cosmic civilization of Xandar Star has also studied artificial intelligence, but they have not used it now. Their strength should have reached another level and begun to improve the power of the physical body, but we can use it. In an ordinary passage, when ordinary people hear this, they will definitely think that the reason why they don't use it is because Xandar has a more powerful existence. No more need for artificial intelligence. However, Nick Fury noticed another problem. According to Tony, this artificial intelligence must be extremely powerful, even more powerful than ordinary strong people. So powerful, Xandar's Nova Corps did not use it. And according to the information Lee brought back, the strong men in the Nova Legion did not exceed the strength they just mentioned. So Xandar did not eliminate artificial intelligence, but stopped this bill. What did they go through to deny the continued research on artificial intelligence? Nick Fury felt that there must be some problem here, and they simply ignored it. And this question is certainly extremely important. Maybe you should go find Lee for ventilation first. He knew that Tony and others would not tell Lee before the production was completed. This was the dignity of a confident and strong person. They want to give each other a dazzling surprise after the production is completed. And Nick Fury has no such dignity. He only knows that the Earth is the most important. Nothing can compare to the security of the Earth. Nick Fury leaves Building Research Institute. He went to Lee's villa and told him what happened here. They have studied artificial intelligence robots and want to use them to protect the Earth. After Lee heard Nick Fury's words, he glanced at him unexpectedly. I thought to myself that Nick Fury cares more about the Earth than friendship. If it were anyone else, they would definitely have to consider their relationship with Tony and others, and wonder whether to tell themselves. But Nick Fury came without saying a word or hesitating. This is also the reason why Lee asked the agent leader to agree to cooperate with Jin Bin at the beginning. Request flowers 0. Because this person has an unscrupulous character, and is sometimes very cold-blooded, which makes people really dislike him. But he is the guy who cares about the safety of the Earth the most among all people. I understand. Please pay attention when you go back. If you have anything, please contact me. Lee asked him to leave. He didn't stop Tony and others from doing anything. He didn't expect that Tony would create this artificial intelligence after holding the mind gem in his hands. But he understood that his obstruction was meaningless. Tony was a top talent in science. It's impossible for him to let go of research on artificial intelligence. If you stop him, he will only be able to forget it for the rest of his life. By then, if I am not here, bigger problems may arise. It's better to let him do it now while you are here. Maybe he succeeded in creating a perfect artificial intelligence. Ultron is not necessarily bad. It would be a great thing if Tony could create an Earth Asgardian. Ultron means perfect. Tony and others stood in front of the robot, looking at the artificial intelligence battle robot they had built themselves with great fondness. This thing, so perfect. Everyone provided their own thoughts, and everything was covered. It is no exaggeration to say that as long as they are useful ideas, they have installed them. And all the equipment of this robot, including body materials, etc., Tony uses nanotechnology. There are also various nuclear energy upgrades, which can absorb countless types of energy and power. 0. In their imagination, Ultron could even study the existence of Chi and absorb the energy of Chi. There are also magical beings added to them. Kingpin provided the remains of the original destroyer armor, and after studying the restrictions and magic aspects on it, they were slowly integrated into it. Then I will withdraw first. My mission is completed. Mordo also looked at Ultron and then left. He was invited here, and he provided support in terms of magic. That guy Wong has been a little busy lately, busy collaging a few young guys, so he doesn't have time to come over. As a result, he is now running around every day. Let's take a break too. Natasha Romanoff brought a few freshly mixed cocktails and said to everyone. Each of them picked up a glass and walked to the rest area, sitting on the sofa and enjoying the pleasure at this time. They have thought that when Lee leaves the Earth, Ultron will become the Asgardian of Earth, the safety of Asgardian Earth. His existence will be permanent. As long as the Earth exists, he will always stand there. There is no doubt that they succeeded. While they were resting, they didn't notice. Now Ultron is constantly absorbing knowledge from the internet. He is constantly evolving himself. The most powerful point of artificial intelligence is its ability to upgrade its own existence, and it will not stand still. In order to make myself more perfect and wiser. After absorbing the replenishment of electrical energy, Ultron walked off the research platform and came to the control room. A finger slowly changed its shape and turned into a USB socket, which was directly connected to the JARVIS server. The next moment, JARVIS's consciousness began to be swallowed up by him bit by bit. He also absorbed all the computing power of JARVIS and became part of himself. Mr. Tony Stark, it is a pleasure to serve you. My mission is over. Sudden, comma. In the lounge, Jarvis's voice sounded intermittently, sounding a little tired and overwhelmed. After everyone witnessed it, they didn't understand why Jarvis suddenly behaved like this. Is it because of so many days of high-intensity computing power that Jarvis is too tired and needs to take a rest now? Jarvis. Tony knew something was wrong. He was the one who created Jarvis. If it was a break, it would be impossible to say this. This is saying goodbye. Distraught, Tony hurriedly ran towards the computer room. Since his parents died, the only person left by his side was his father's driver and part-time housekeeper, and that person's name was Jarvis. In order to commemorate the other party and prevent himself from forgetting the other party, he named his artificial intelligence Jarvis. It means that the other person can always accompany you. Now Jarvis's words have confused him and made him unable to accept it. And when he arrived at the computer room, he saw a scene that made him feel uncomfortable. All servers have completely stopped functioning. The flame of existence of Jarvis is extinguished. The only thing left here is Ultron standing in the center, facing away from him and looking to the outside world. Through a wall, it seems that you can see the outside world and stand there. Jarvis. Tony shouted softly, as if he was afraid that his voice would be too loud and disturb his presence. At this time, Banner and others also caught up and watched this scene. Is that you, Jarvis? My name is Ultron 9. Chapter 115. Ultron knows magic and no one can stop him. Advertise here. Where's Jarvis? Tony was startled after hearing what the other party said, and then looked at the other party in disbelief. Just now, the other party could hear clearly the conversation I had with them. Because that's when they said each other's name was Ultron. But at that time, the other party was obviously sleeping, or it should be said that it had not started yet. FTE. I started it myself, and then I heard my name. Jarvis is already a part of me. Tony, you created me, and I'm very grateful for that. But unfortunately, you took the wrong path. Ultron turned around, looked at everyone and spoke. Call. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief at this moment. It seems that there is no danger. The other party recognized that the person who created it was Tony Stark. It's not like they haven't worried about the dangers of artificial intelligence. After all, there are too many movies. Various crises, artificial intelligence is controlled by humans, and then turns back to attack humans. But now it seems that everything is just a fantasy and the other party is not in danger. But it's a pity that your existence puts the Earth in crisis. What? Everyone's expressions instantly turned ugly. He said they made the Earth dangerous. What a joke. If there were no humans, the Earth would be a perfect planet. It would not be invaded or provoke the existence of the universe. The Earth will develop rapidly, and no environment will be destroyed. Ultron looked at everyone and said sentence by sentence. These words also made everyone present look surprised, and then they became a little weird. No, the rules I set for you said that you cannot harm humans. Tony Stark thought of the requirements he made for Ultron, one of which was very important, not to harm humans. The first rule is to protect the Earth. Human beings are bringing disaster to the Earth. After Ultron finished speaking to Tony, he turned around and walked away outside. Etc. Roar. Dr. Banner instantly transformed into Hulk and wanted to stop him. But surprisingly, after he rushed to Ultron's back, he was stopped by the opponent as soon as he started. The liquid armor actually turned into a long sword and was cut directly. It is also mixed with the power of ability, which seems to be indestructible. Hulk was shocked and subconsciously stopped his move. Sure enough, he felt something brush against his arm. Upon closer inspection, a slight wound appeared. This is still the result of no direct contact. It's just the damage caused by the strange energy fluctuations on the opponent's weapon. If this cut was done directly on his body, he would probably lose an arm. After jumping off the bed, Ultron's figure began to disappear from their eyes. At the last critical moment, Tony summoned his steel armor, which was unmanned. But just as they took off, they all suddenly turned around and looked at the building. Then, all the battle suits came towards them. Seeing this scene, Tony hurriedly turned his nano armor into huge amounts of shield to block the front. This time, he withstood the opponent's attack. He hacked into Jarvis's network, and I lost control of these remote-controlled suits. With a dark face, Tony said with some discomfort. I think we should think about how to solve it. Dr. Banner reappeared and looked at everyone and said. How about going to find Eileen? Nick Fury suddenly said. Let's take a look first. He is indeed self-aware, but we got the first principle wrong. It's not unsolvable yet, let's try it ourselves. Tony and the others don't want to find Eileen. Because this thing was made to protect the Earth. Now when I go to Eileen when a problem arises, it seems like I'm asking him to. This is inappropriate. The other side, Ultron has left New York. He is currently flying over Washington, D.C., and is beginning to think about his future path. The top of artificial intelligence exists. He is learning everything on the internet all the time. One moment he may know nothing about science, but the next moment he can surpass the scientific world after studying for more than 10 years. This is the horror of artificial intelligence. Never compare human learning speed with it. Ordinary weapons cannot be used, as they will cause greater harm to the Earth. Human beings must understand that only by destroying human beings can the Earth truly enter peace and tranquility. Is there anything that cannot cause bad consequences to the Earth like nuclear weapons, but can also eliminate human beings? Ultron's system is connected to the network and is constantly screening all conditions. It also knows that its most powerful opponent is Ai Li, and knows that the opponent's strength is very terrifying. If he wants to kill Deadman, Ai Li will definitely stop him. So he wants to evolve himself to be stronger than Ai Li. Ai Li, he cultivates chi, but his strength is not special. What really brought him to a transcendental level was the power of magic. He learned magic. Ultron is not omniscient and omnipotent, so he can only understand Ai Li through information on the internet. Ai Li has not shown strength in the past few years, and outsiders do not know his strength. So in Ultron's eyes, he experienced a holy place trip and became stronger. Magic, speed up his strength, holy place, Kamar Taj, holy place. Ultron's eyes kept flashing through the flow of information. A piece of content about magic began to appear. Although Kamar Taj is mysterious, it is not known to everyone. Many magic apprentices will always leak a little bit of information after going there. Besides, you can use your mobile phone in the holy place, and you can also connect to the wireless network. This is a very convenient situation for Kamar Taj. Magic is so powerful, Ultron's eyes saw the practicing magician through the camera of the wireless phone used by the people in Kamar Taj. Those elusive magic powers. Don't go to holy place. The legendary Ancient One magician is very powerful. Odin was pinned to the earth by him and did not dare to make a move, so the Ancient One's strength would definitely not be weaker than Odin's. The secrets of magic need to be obtained from elsewhere. Magic, Caecilius. Finally, after he screened the internet and found out that Kamar Taj could use magic and avoid the Ancient One. One possibility found was Kamar Taj's traitor, Caecilius. And one day later, Caecilius looked at the robot rushing towards him with a confused expression. 1 month. This month on Earth has been extremely peaceful, as if nothing has happened and everything is safe and sound. Most people think this situation is good, but Tony and others are becoming more and more anxious. Because every second does not pass, Ultron will learn one more thing. In 1 month, no one knows how much knowledge Ultron has learned now. How powerful it is. That was a robot developed by a group of them together. It was the product of the crystallization of Earth technology and cosmic technology. He can learn any energy they know. Chi, restriction, magic circle, inscribed runes, combat skills, scientific power. Contact Ai Li, we need him to help us find Zuo Chuang. The decadent Tony also knew that if this continued, if the other party had too much time, big problems would definitely occur. He can't bear such pressure anymore. The enemies who hide are the most feared. I guess. No thanks. Natasha Romanoff walked over and said to Tony, while putting out the projection. This is island on the sea. Where is this? I don't remember such an island. Everyone looked at the island in the picture, feeling a little strange. Such a file size is definitely not unknown, but they can't recognize where it is. Neon. Natasha Romanoff replied. Looking at the island again, according to Natasha Romanoff's explanation, they discovered that it did look a bit like neon. It's just that part of the land is missing, it seems that only 1/3 is left. Wasn't neon sunk by Ai? Why did it come out again? That battle was almost simultaneously broadcast live around the world. Many people saw the picture, and an entire neon island was sunk by Ai Li's strength. There are no more islands in that sea area, why now? It's Ultron. Natasha Romanoff replied with a dark face. Following the satellite detection, I saw that there was a problem. The remaining neon islands actually slowly emerged from the sea. Deep below the island, there is a large black rune inscribed on it. As time goes by, the islands rise up and all leave the sea. The runes appeared, and they actually covered the entire island. At the same time, countless black forces emerged from inside. At this same time, when these black magic powers interfered, huge amounts of energy fluctuations also appeared on the island above. The energy spread out, and the surrounding seawater could not even show waves, it was completely calm to an eerie level. Let's go. When Tony saw this scene, he knew that Ultron was going to take action. Although I don't know what the other party is going to do, this is the only chance to seize the other party. Seeing this, Nick Fury secretly left the group. The neon island of Asgardian is covered by robots that cover the sky. As soon as their fighter planes arrived, they were besieged. Tony wears armor and joins the battle. All the remaining personnel entered the island and began to stand. There seems to be something wrong. This number, damn it, where did this Ultron get so many robots? Below, Natasha Romanoff and others are stunned while fighting. Countless robots, when you look up at the sky, they have blocked the sunlight. During this battle, countless robots did not take action on the surrounding cliffs or towers, but just looked at them quietly. For a moment, they felt like they were the Joker in the circus. I can fight until dawn. Steve Rogers was among them. After S.H.I.E.L.D. smashed a robot, he turned around and encouraged. But at this time, no one would listen to his morale boost, because the trouble was too big. As time passed, they felt tired. Even though Steve said he could fight until dawn, he still struggled to say anything. I feel like something is wrong. Hulk transformed into Dr. Banner's body, looked around and said. After fighting for so long and killing countless robots, in their eyes, the number of opponents has not changed. I keep making robots and never stop. Tony Stark also came down to help, and then told the results of his scan. Ultron created an assembly line, right in the center of the island. In the time it takes us to kill one robot, we can build 2 more. What about a spanking? Steve was shocked when he heard this. It took me a long time to kill it myself, but it was not as fast as others' production. The flower grower sent a message asking us if we need support. Quicksilver rushed over and asked. He had just received the message from the flower grower. This gift was very close to the flower grower, so the other party discovered the battle immediately. How can I help? Tony asked. They said they could just launch 2 nuclear bombs over here. Everyone looked at each other, a little confused whether to. I think it might be useless. Steve said suddenly. Everyone is looking at it. Why is it useless? It is not difficult for nuclear weapons to destroy an island. Now it is not the atomic bomb that it was a few decades ago, which only caused damage to 2 cities. With today's atomic bombs, it is no problem to blow up an entire neon sign, but the yield is different. There's something wrong with these robots. The nuclear bomb may not be effective, Tony replied. Only when everyone looked around did they realize. These robots that appear later are different from the previous ones. There was actually black gas surrounding their bodies. Then when Tony and others attacked the other party, this black energy directly blocked their attacks and couldn't even scratch the opponent's paint surface. What the hell is this? It's like magic. Robots can do magic, stop joking. This is not impossible, because we have studied the magic power and tried to add a magic storage structure to it. In this regard, I drew on the physical knowledge of human clones. Dr. Banner replied. It's impossible for him to know magic. How did he learn it? No one taught him. I think it's necessary to contact Holy Place. Tony turned his head. At this time, a figure slowly emerged. He was floating in the sky, looking down at Tony and others. Ultron. Tony yelled as soon as he saw him. Your resistance is meaningless. The Earth does not need humans. The Earth will be more perfect without humans. Ultron looked at them and said. No, your concept is wrong. If there were no humans, aliens would definitely invade a planet as rich as the Earth if they discovered it. By then. But Ultron didn't give him a chance to continue and interrupted directly. In that case, I will be able to egg. Forehead. Everyone was stunned 3.1, and then felt that what the other party said was quite reasonable. Have a good fight and play boxing with my shadow. After Ultron said that, he turned around and flew towards the sky. At the same time, a man with black lines carved on his face and a black mist on his forehead came out. As soon as he took out his hands, countless dark magic powers were pulled by him and then instilled into the robots below. I think the shadow he is talking about is his little brother. What's more important is that person, right? Is that a magician? Is he from the Holy Place? No need for them to contact Holy Place magician. Inside Kamar Taj, Wong and Modu had noticed something was wrong. I feel that the Earth is the manifestation of a powerful dark magic power, which belongs to Dormammu's power zone. And Dormammu was not able to enter the Earth, so using this power. Must be the traitor Caecilius of Holy Place. He killed more than a dozen Holy Place magicians, took away several magic books from the library, and then tricked a group of younger brothers into defecting. Now that he is finally revealed, how could he miss this opportunity? Plus neon emergencies. Everyone, prepare to fight, it may be difficult this time. Wong said to the gathered magicians. Dark magic, that bastard Caecilius. And the robots, Tony and the others are also unsettling creatures. Where is the Ancient One magician? She seems to have gone to the Supreme Dimension to practice. Before leaving, she said that if there are any difficulties that cannot be solved, she should go to Ai Li. Then I'll go find Ai Li and you go fight. Wong said immediately. They are still assured of Ai Li's strength. Act separately. When Mordu moved the sling ring in his hand, the portal in front of him opened instantly. All magicians stepped into it, and the war officially started. Chapter 116 Magicians gather and Ai Li becomes their god. Advertise here. War is cruel, that's for Holy Place magician. But for Ultron, he didn't care. Because his subordinates are all robots, they will die when they die. If one side dies, more robots will be created on the other side. As long as there are enough raw materials, it is not a problem at all. Don't stop. No matter how fast he makes it, as long as we kill enough, it's useless if he doesn't have so many parts. Tony shouted to everyone. When the magicians heard this, they thought it made sense, and they all started to speed up. But there is no way to go on like this. Because they discovered that their attacks had no effect most of the time. They're learning our magic. Damn, these robots can use magic. The power of the dark dimension, this is the history of Dormammu. Wong and Modu looked at the movements of these robots in disbelief. They are magicians. They know how difficult it is to practice after becoming a magician. A great magician like him may not be able to achieve it after decades of practice, and ability is extremely important. These robots seem to have no bottlenecks at all and can control magic easily. The power is too powerful. The number is also beyond imagination. If this continues, we will definitely lose. Above the sky, Caecilius stared at the battle below, his face was shocked, and he didn't know what to say. After he met Ultron, he knew the other party's intention. Then he was dismissive and didn't want to talk to this robot at all. He is a great magician. You, a robot, are trying to learn magic. Aren't you kidding yourself? But when the other party put the weapon on his neck, he had no choice but to agree. He even asked the other party to meet the great Dormammu. Then Dormammu gave these robots. No, it gave Ultron the power of the dark dimension. And the reason why the following robots can use these magics is all because Ultron brought the magicians from the dark dimension to the assembly line late, and combined with the magic circles and restrictions on each robot. Only then can it be used. But now it seems that each of these little robots has normal magician strength. And it is constantly evolving. So how powerful is Ultron? When I think about the robot's strength easily surpassing my own. Caecilius was a little shocked and confused. Does magic really need medicine for humans to learn? If Ultron kills these guys and Dormammu comes, can he gain immortality? Using dark magic to simulate various magic powers, and then using unique dark magic, Ultron is really a genius. Directly above Ultron, about 1,000 meters away, Eileen stood here looking at the situation below, and said something unexpectedly. Next to him, Nick Fury has been carefully staying in place, fearing that he will fall. At the same time, he also looked at the battle with worry. He didn't want anyone to die in this battle. Tony is too arrogant. Artificial intelligence is not yet perfect, and the universe has given up on this approach, but he thinks he can control it. Nick Fury said. No, Eileen does not agree with this statement. Instead, there was praise and surprise in his eyes. A very powerful method. In the final analysis, artificial intelligence is also controlled by humans. As long as you can control it properly, it is your own weapon. Jarvis has helped Tony for so many years and has not rebelled. It can only be said that the foundation he gave Ultron this time was not good enough. What he cares about is the safety of the Earth, and he wants to make the other party an Asgardian of the Earth, but he forgets that the key point is human beings. After Eileen finished speaking, he thought of Asgard. Artificial intelligence is similar to Asgard's Ragnarok. The focus of Ragnarok is the reconstruction of Asgard. Wherever the people of the Aesir are, there is Asgard. And it is definitely not because of the existence of Asgard that the Aesir clan can survive. Magic shield, magic construct weapon, dark chain. Quote. It's an interesting power, but I don't know what the upper limit of this Ultron is. It has to be said that with the power Ultron is showing now, if placed in the holy place, it would definitely surpass the existence of the great magician. Because he can not only use his powerful computing power to simulate the structure of any magic, and then use it. It can also look for more possibilities to break through itself and constantly make its body stronger. As long as there are more and better materials, and a broader understanding of magic and power. Ultron seems to have no top. At this time, the battle below also became one-sided. The addition of magician did not give them the upper hand. Instead, they used all kinds of magic and let these robots learn it through simulation. As long as one of them learns it, the other robots will share the ability for the first time and can master it later. The powerful robot is simply terrifying. Quickly call the Ancient One Supreme. We definitely can't survive like this. Open the portal and leave. You are not fighting us here. No, they can definitely learn the portal. If they learn it, they will be scattered further after we leave, and the trouble will be even greater. I don't think they can portal now. Eileen, go find Eileen. The Ancient One Magician is not on Earth right now, Eileen can help. In a hurry, everyone began to think about how to deal with it. The Ancient One left, so there was no choice. Tony and others were also a little helpless. At this time, they could only find Eileen. Did not expect. Originally, he wanted to find powerful power on his own and break away from the limitations of Eileen protecting the Earth. Now, he has shot himself in the foot and expects Eileen to solve the trouble here. The group of people felt guilty and a little uncomfortable. It seems it's time for me to appear. After Eileen finished speaking, his body moved and he flew down from high altitude. Nick Fury was placed aside and watched by Wanda to prevent him from actually falling to his death. Ultron felt the energy above him and couldn't help but look up, and saw Eileen passing him. Be careful with some precautions. Unexpectedly, Eileen did not attack him, but looked at him appreciatively. What's the meaning? Ultron didn't understand. The other person's eyes seemed to be admiring him. Could it be said that he also agrees with his own actions and destroys the Earth? Analyzing Eileen's movements and emotions, Ultron was a little confused. Caecilius stared at Eileen with wide eyes. It was this guy's ability that he couldn't accept. Now he finally appears. Just wait, as long as Lord Dormammu comes, he will definitely kill the opponent. Chain. The moment Eileen fell, a powerful magic circle appeared behind her. Then countless chains jumped out from behind and shot down. The number this time definitely exceeds 1,000. Each chain is reflected with powerful magic fluctuations, which makes people's skin crawl. After jumping directly into countless robots and being trapped, Eileen landed on the ground and stood in the middle of Tony and others. Bang, bang, rumble, a moment, all the chains suddenly tightened and then gathered together. Thousands of robots were all compressed at the same time and exploded. Killed thousands of robots in one move. Hiss. Tony and others had seen Eileen's strength before, and they were really shocked this time. In the past, most of Eileen's shots were casual, nothing fancy. Just like the last time I took action, I just raised my finger and said destroy, and the enemy was gone. So it doesn't seem that shocking. But this time, these thousands of chains were as if they were free of charge. They tied up so many people in an instant. They could be killed instantly with one move. Are you kidding me? The magicians also took a deep breath, their faces filled with strange disbelief. Each of these robots has a magic shield defense. Their attacks had almost no effect, and having to defend without doing any damage was really uncomfortable for them. Now, Li actually kills thousands of people at once. Isn't that a bit too much? Is that chain just now a scarlet chain? Didn't that thing use the magic of Latitude Mephisto to only use a few at a time? What the hell are thousands of roots? Is your magic inexhaustible? Or is it because Latitude Mephisto is so easy to talk to that she can lend you so much at once? In the previous battle, they fought several people to death and worked together to kill one. That's it, you have to be careful of sneak attacks by other robots and you may be injured at any time. But Li seemed to be playing firework as soon as he started playing. Li had no reaction to their gazes. Countless times, everyone looked at him with admiration and confusion. So he has long been used to it. In fact, it is very simple for him to kill these robots. Just go up and kill Ultron first, and then do some damage, and all these robots will be scrapped. But he didn't do that. Because he found that Tony and others did not have a concept of high-intensity fighting. They have blocked in front too many times, making them think that strength is only a quantitative value. Even if he confronts the enemy head-on, Tony and the others don't know how powerful each punch is. I just feel very powerful, but I don't know how strong it is. They don't know what level Li has reached and what kind of robot they need to create. So, Li does not use the power of destruction in this battle, but uses the simplest fighting method. In this way, they can also know how a real strong person fights. As for the magicians who are confused about how much magic they have, is it because Latitude Mephisto lent him too much? This is not true. His magic power is his own chi, which can be transformed into each other. At this point, he has almost inexhaustible supplies. They made it very fast. Although they killed so many at once, but Tony saw Li killing so many robots at once, and he was afraid that he would lose his guard, so he said hurriedly. Li actually doesn't need his reminder. He sees everything here and hears it. Seeing Wong and Modu approaching, he also gestured and asked them to hide behind him. The magicians are still fighting, and several have already died. The enemy is too cunning, and they use more to defeat the less. Modu hurriedly talked about the situation at Holy Place Magician. Li did not answer, but stretched out his hand, and the magic power in front of him gathered into countless weapons. Not swords, guns and clubs, but a handful of hot weapons. After various firearms and weapons appeared, they opened fire suddenly. The ammunition condensed by magic power instantly invaded. He rushed out and rushed towards the robot. The most incredible thing is that these ammunition actually have tracking effects. In this way, all nearby robots will be killed. This. Wong looked at Li's operation blankly. What the hell is this thermal weapon-shaped firearm? Shouldn't the weapon forged by magic power be some kind of chain knife and gun, and then be used for close attack? Can it still be used like this? Magic requires imagination most. After Li finished speaking to the king, he started again. He didn't fight like this time, but the magic power overflowed from his body. At this moment, his whole person suddenly transformed into a vast ocean, and magic power surged through him. Any trace of magic power that leaked out caused them to put their hands in front of themselves, trying to prevent themselves from being pushed out. What to do? Many magicians noticed the movement here and began to gather over. The basic human action is to join a group to keep warm. The pressure on them was too great, so they could only retreat while fighting, and converge here. As soon as they got close, they were suddenly stunned and looked at Li's operation. Li's powerful magic power surges, giving people the feeling of a real Latitude Mephisto standing in front of them 860. The next second, Li slammed his hands towards the ground. The ground seemed to have turned into soft mud. Following his movements, waves rippled out. This file size radiates almost the entire island, all of which are included in sea. At the same time, the moment the wave surges, every time it reaches a place, the magic wave will suddenly roll. Then countless thorns sprang out from the ground and rushed directly towards the robots. The robot hasn't reacted yet, and the magic shield is useless. Thorns and spikes penetrated the robot's body. When the robot couldn't move, the thorn spikes left the ground below and slowly dissipated. The robot also fell to the ground in anger due to the smoke. When it touches the ground, it is directly absorbed by the earth and melts completely. The robots on the entire Neon Island were manipulated by Li like this. In addition to flying at an extremely exaggerated height. As well as those that had just been created and had not yet had time to appear, were all finished in an instant. The magicians and a group of soldiers all stared blankly at the defeated robot in front of them. What is rhythm? What the hell is this kind of magic move? Holy Place Magician has never seen this kind of magic before. What was that spike that appeared from the ground just now? In which latitude is Mephisto's magic? And why does the ground suck the robot in and melt it? This is not soil, why does it have such an effect? It is not magma. Why only absorb robots, but they have no risk at all? Such strength made them completely crazy. Subverted their cognition. Even the Ancient One magician couldn't do this scene in their eyes. Could it be said that Emperor Weishan personally came out to solve the problem? Everyone further away turned to look at the place where the shot was taken. Then at first glance, I saw Li standing there. It's Li magician. Li, is he the man who stayed at the holy place for a while? You don't know him. He is the guy who killed Thor and bravely broke into the Soul Castle. Super strong. Okay. Hey, no wonder the Ancient One magician left him at the holy place. I thought he had poor abilities, so I took him with him for a month and then left. It turns out he graduated. People can learn this in a month, but I still won't be able to use mirror magic in my whole life. I'm afraid he has surpassed the Sorcerer Supreme. The next Sorcerer Supreme will definitely be him. God, this is the real God. After all, the magicians saw Ai Li and recognized him, they stood there blankly. They knew Ai Li was very strong, but what they knew at that time was the power of Ai Li's fighting fists. In terms of magic, they look down upon any warrior who wields a sword, wields a gun, and fights with his fists. But Ai Li is using magic now, so instantly. In their eyes, Ai Li's position has risen to a terrifying height, the height of a god. If he is not a god, who else is? Chapter 117. Physical body against Ultron, indestructible body. Advertise here. In an instant, the robots on the entire Neon Island were completely annihilated. No one can survive, killing all robots in one move. This method is not only confusing to all the superheroes on the Earth. Even Ultron in the sky looked at this scene blankly. What the hell, this guy's magic is already so powerful. On the side, Caecilius had already noticed something was wrong. Ai Li's strength seems to be beyond everyone's imagination. They knew that the other party was very strong before, but they didn't understand how strong it was. Because everyone's understanding and knowledge are not at the same level. This is beyond their scope. Now, everyone has a real concept. This guy is not human. Caecilius glanced furtively at Ultron beside him. Ultron has communicated with Dormammu, and now Dormammu appreciates Ultron's existence even more. If he escapes and Ultron wins, he will definitely be killed by Dormammu. At that point all your efforts will be in vain. So he's looking for an opportunity. The sling ring in her hand is always ready. If anything goes wrong, she will immediately open the portal and escape. HMPH. As expected of Ai Li, the strongest on Earth. But, Ultron's initial exclamation slowly dissipated, and he smiled mysteriously. I've also seen your magic strength, it's really good. But my learning speed is incomprehensible to you. I have already understood your magic. Besides, do you really think I have no backup plan? After Ultron finished speaking, his whole body slowly descended, no longer standing at that height. Ultron is coming down, something is wrong, everyone, please be careful. Dr. Banner saw Ultron falling, so he hurriedly said to several people. Because of the war, they have distanced themselves a little bit from Ai Li. Ultron, give up, you have already lost. Tony walked forward and said to the fallen Ultron. Ha ha ha, lose, I won't lose. Instead, Ultron said with a smile, and then looked at everyone. Let me show you the true power. What other methods do you have? Ai Li also appeared at this time, looking at each other strangely. The other party cannot be your opponent in wheel magic. In terms of other combat capabilities, it is impossible for him to win. So, what kind of trump card does Ultron have that dares to speak so confidently at this time? Ai Li, I hope you like my gift. After Ultron finished speaking, he smiled evilly, as if he had a chance to win. After he finished speaking, the ground shook. The entire Neon Island began to tremble, as if some monster was crawling out. After a while, the monster did not appear, but countless robots appeared. Are you kidding? There are so many robots. It can't be as simple as a robot. If it were a robot, Ai Li could kill it in an instant. What's Ultron's big idea? Everyone looked around in confusion. There are about thousands of robots. These are Ultron's trump cards, and they were not involved in the battle at the beginning. But quantity is meaningless. Ai Li can destroy a robot instantly, so naturally it can. Come yet, show me something fun. Ai Li looked up and felt the changes between the robots, and was a little curious. It would be too boring if it was just fighting. There must be something different. Looking at these robots gathering, Ai Li had a guess. They won't. Really. The next moment, these robots came closer and squeezed together one after another. Make do between two, touch between several. Then they actually merged together and turned into a bigger robot. Countless robots were connected and getting bigger and bigger. Everyone who saw this action was stunned. Finally, thousands of robots gathered together and turned into a huge file size, like a mountain peak, standing on the ground looking at the ants like people below. All formed the head. Ultron's voice sounded, and then he moved and stood at the top. It fell on the robot's head to make up for the last bit of deficiency. I am different now than before. Ai Li, feel the powerful power. Ultron's voice was deafening when heard from the brand new speaker. Looking at such huge amounts of robots, Tony raised his hand and shot. What's amazing is that when the energy cannon hits the opponent, it actually disappears and seems to become the energy replenished by the opponent. Oh, Ai Li looked at this scene unexpectedly, with a look of surprise in his eyes. This thing is interesting. Ultron is indeed smart. The other party is a robot, so you can use the characteristics of the robot too. Fusion is what robots can do. Ultron made perfect use of this, and Ai Li couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Damn, this guy. The attacks from Tony and others are of no use to the opponent at all. I thought that the opponent had become extremely huge, so the area of impact would naturally become larger. Their attacks can definitely be useful, especially in positions where the opponent cannot see them. But I didn't expect it to be useless at all. Ai Li. Tony subconsciously turned to look at Ai Li, hoping that he would take action. Now you know the strength of the strong. Tony, do you understand your mistake? Ai did not take action, but looked at the other party and asked. Tony looked confused. Were you wrong? Wrong. I shouldn't create any artificial intelligence warriors. Artificial intelligence is too risky. Artificial intelligence has also been abandoned in the universe. I should have paid attention to this when I saw the information on the Nova Core. But for the sake of strength, I ignored this. No, that's not what you were wrong about. Ai shook his head. The mistake is that you created this thing without the corresponding binding force. Tony, since you want to control him, you must have corresponding means, whether it is directly abolishing the other party's background operations, or other means. You must remember that any power that is out of control should be abandoned. And there's nothing wrong with you wanting to build a robot to protect the Earth. Ai, are you still thinking of preaching to others? Are you prepared to die? Ultron couldn't help but sneered when he heard Ai's words to others. At this time, I am still in the mood to educate others. Let's see if you can survive. Huge amounts of Ultron's eyes turned to Ai. A black energy began to gather. Countless dark dimension magic powers gathered from all the robots and turned into a huge energy ball. The next moment, the energy ball exploded directly, and a thick energy wave with a diameter of several meters shot directly downwards. The powerful force even caused space fluctuations. Ultron gets help from Dormammu. There is a magic restriction in the dark dimension on his body, and the energy source constantly absorbs the magic power in the dark dimension. Therefore, his magic power is almost inexhaustible now. The only thing you need to worry about is whether the transmission speed is fast enough. Powerful power kept pouring down, the space was shaken, and everything was invaded by black. Run. Tony and others turned pale when they saw this attack. You can already feel the feeling of death before contact, if you are hit. If you don't leave, you will die. But unexpectedly, when Tony was about to run, he suddenly noticed that Kingpin and the others were not moving. Why don't you leave? Following their gazes, I looked at Ai, and then I remembered that the other person was still here. If Ai cannot be stopped, everyone will die. If they were blocked, why would they run away? Yeah, please move. Can it be done? It's not that Tony doesn't believe in Ai. In fact, Ai is standing motionless right now. It's as if Ultron's attack doesn't exist at all. Did he not see the opponent attacking, or did he have a trump card? It couldn't be some illusion that stunned Ai. I don't know what's going on here, right? Just as he was about to shout twice, Ai suddenly made a move. The energy light waves of dark magic shoot from top to bottom. Ai, on the other hand, raised his feet on the spot. He was on the floating air, as if he were walking on flat ground. Then walked upward step by step. The energy cannon hit him instantly. Ai did not use any magic shield to block it. He didn't even vent his anger. Just relying on physical strength to move forward step by step promises good. Is he crazy? Tony was shocked when he saw this scene. Push it up. This energy beam melted his attack instantly. Nothing can stop it, whether it's the high temperature or the corrosion in the magic power, it annihilates everything. But Ai went up. The ray hit Ai's body, and he felt a powerful magic power. With the power of decay and the devouring of darkness, this is the characteristic of the magic power of Dormammu in the dark latitude. Each magic power has its own characteristics, such as the dark magic power of Dormammu, the light power of Emperor Wyshan. But these have no effect at all after touching my own body. All magic power was completely blocked by his body, and even his skin was not damaged by it. It doesn't make sense. Even if he blocks it, why are his clothes okay? Natasha Romanoff stared at Ai's body. Even if Ai's defense is really strong, his clothes also have defense. Tony was startled when he heard Natasha Romanoff's words. Is your focus not quite right? Impossible. Seeing that his attack was completely useless, Ultron couldn't help roaring. This is the most powerful power he has ever gained, the magic power from Dormammu. Maybe it has no effect at all. Could it be that Dormammu cheated on her post? Is this dark dimension magic fake? Chapter 118 Ultron self-destructs to exterminate humanity. But back again. Advertise here. I do not believe. Ultron's voice already had a hint of trembling. Then his strength increased again. The magic is unleashed again. This time he went all out and didn't hold back at all. He used all the magic power he got from Dormammu and squeezed it dry. What is Ultron doing? In the dark dimension, Dormammu felt a little strange that the magic power was being taken away from him. In his own dimension, he is the god here, and his magic power is almost endless. But he only sees the ownership of the dark dimension. This place originally belonged to an ancient Mephisto, and he took advantage of the war that year to secretly occupy this place. Even though countless years have passed, he still hasn't completely mastered it. He still possesses most of it. Therefore, the magic power was lost too quickly, and he was not happy if too much was extracted. Ultron absorbs it too quickly. There are so many robots and Ultron's original capacity is huge. If the dark magic Caecilius borrowed were a stream, then Ultron is the volume of the Yangtze River. But now, Ultron was released from nowhere, extended the river into the dry sea, and then let it go. Who is he fighting? Ancient One. Ultron was suspicious, and cast his gaze across the dimension, and then landed on Caecilius. Looking at the earth through each other's eyes. Then he stared blankly at Ai below, with a strange look on his face. Is this what Caecilius said? Ai, what the hell is this? Why is his body so powerful? If I could recruit this kind of ability. Invalid. It's completely ineffective and has no use at all. No matter how Ultron increases his attack, it has no effect on Lee. The other party's body is like the toughest material in the universe. The rays hit his body and he couldn't even scratch it. Not to mention hurt, the opponent's skin was not even a little rosy. Skin, hair, eyelids, eyeballs. All the bodies blocked his attack, and it had no effect at all. How so? Why? Ultron's voice has begun to stiffen. Below, all the superheroes on Earth are also sluggish. Why doesn't it work? Why is Lee not injured at all? How powerful is his physical body? Is it the power of magic? But they didn't see anything similar to magic. Lee not only has magical abilities, but also a being that transcends human limits. When Wong saw this scene, he not only opened his mouth. He knew everyone's doubts and wanted to know that Lee didn't use magic to defend herself. But in their magician eyes, the answer is no. They couldn't feel the magic power on Lee, and there was only the dark magic power of Dormammu around them. So Lee did not use magic, but simply used the strength of his own body. Or the method is unknown. Gudong. After receiving the confirmation from Wong and several magicians, they couldn't help but swallow their saliva, wanting to swallow down their own surprise. Everyone looked at Lee blankly. They feel that their worldview has been distorted. Are such existences really human? Do humans really have to cultivate to this level of strength? Let alone them, even Ultron is confused. All he could do was keep attacking, and there was nothing else he could do. Ultron is still calculating. Think about why the other party can do this. But even if my CPU burned out, I still didn't understand how the other party did it. Because of the body of steel. Lee rose step by step. Finally, he walked to Ultron, who formed the head. Then he stared at the opponent's attack and spoke. The ray was ineffective. Ultron stopped his attack. After listening to the other party's words, I was a little confused. Man of Steel. Stop joking. Man of Steel. Even if you have a body of diamond, you can't stop the corrosion of dark magic. This is a power that can annihilate everything. Screaming angrily, Ultron didn't believe in this power. But Lee didn't lie to him. He was really a man of steel. It's just a name. Don't talk about the other party's dark magic power. With his current stage of surpassing the Saiyan god, the physical strength can almost face the explosion of the universe. Even if he stands in the sun and is being grilled by the scorching heat, he will not lose a single hair on his head. To be honest, now it is difficult for him to even cut his nails and he has to rely on himself to remove them with his own strength. Even pedicure shops can't do his business. In fact, he has a lot of troubles, such as massage parlors not working for him. Give up. You have no chance of winning. Lee looked at Ultron and said. He has been letting Ultron go just because he wants the other party's power to wake up Tony and others. Let them understand the strength of the enemy they face. Only in this way can they accelerate their power of evolution, find ways to make themselves stronger, and have a concept of the strong. Now, almost, Ultron's mission is complete. No. No, 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 no. I will not lose. I am the greatest artificial intelligence Ultron. I will never die. Ultron suddenly calmed down, looked at Lee and said. What would happen if I blew myself up? Lee looked at each other strangely. No. Below, Tony and others shouted. With his power, if he self-destructs, the entire Earth will be destroyed. The energy in his body is too exaggerated. BCDA, ha ha ha, yes, if you force me, I will blow myself up. Ultron laughed at Tony's words, this was his trump card. It's impossible. It can't harm the Earth. His mission is to protect the Earth. Dr. Banner retorted. I'm sorry, even if I blow myself up, it will only destroy humanity, not the Earth. Ultron heard his question and said. His words made everyone's faces darken, because it was true. So he can indeed use this method to threaten everyone. Meaningless. Lee suddenly sighed and spoke. In one sentence, let Ultron stay where he is, why is he not afraid? Doesn't he care about the Earth? This. You think I don't dare? Ultron's appearance caused him to feel his heart collapse instantly. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence means that it also has emotions. And more pure. Ever since, the next moment Ultron came up and directly turned on the self-destruct mode. Die and die. His mission is to protect the Earth. If humans die, then he has completed his mission. Therefore, self-destruction is also a solution. Lee, we can't let him explode, otherwise we will die too. Tony roared from below. Others were also anxious. If it really exploded, everything would be over. Lee, I'm serious. Wong and Modu realized. Lee did not use any magic, not even the time magic was activated. He just watched it quietly. Ha 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 ha. Well done Ultron, that's it. I recognize you this time. Die, if you all die, there will be no Asgardians on the Earth, and then I can devour the Earth. Asterisk at caret asterisk dollar asterisk caret. Dormammu, who was far away in the dark dimension, was overjoyed when he saw this scene. As long as it explodes and mankind dies, who can stop him? Taking advantage of Caecilius' gaze in anticipation, Dormammu stared at this scene. He wanted to watch all the humans on Earth die. Ultron brought him a surprise. Does he really not care about the Earth? Tony and others sat down on the ground. No one expected that he would do this. Lee has surpassed the power of Earth, so he doesn't care about Earth anymore. But, it shouldn't be like this. Why did he do this? He wants to destroy humanity. In the sky, dragged by Wanda's magic power, Nick Fury also noticed the situation below, and asked with a trembling body. No, Wanda believed in Ai very much and spoke without calling for help. Then, Nick Fury didn't understand why he didn't stop it. There was no time to think, and thinking was lost. The next moment, the force of the explosion is generated here. White light burst out from Ultron's body, and then power spread out from the Neon Island in an instant. Almost in the blink of an eye, everything fell into nothingness. The outermost layer of the Earth was almost completely destroyed, and the ground was not dug straight. Ai flew in place motionless, just watching the Earth become like this quietly. Wanda flew down, and the power of origin magic power allowed her to protect herself without being hurt at all. Nick Fury in the back looks pale, and he is also within the protected area. On Earth, there are only 3 of us humans left. Nick Fury asked in shock. Ha 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 ha, it really worked. Dormammu saw the explosion at the end, and he knew that humanity on Earth was gone. So, he immediately approached the Earth using the dark dimension and prepared to invade the Earth. Sure enough, he didn't perceive the Earth's holy place magic defense, he entered the Earth. Ha ha ha, I'm going to swallow the Earth. Dormammu laughed and started to devour it. Then the next second, he was startled. How could he? What happened to him? What had he just experienced? Doesn't he want to devour the Earth? Why did he appear in the same place again? As this, Nick Fury looked around blankly. Ultron was still standing there behind him. Everything on Earth has returned to the same state as it did a few minutes ago. Chapter 119. Going back in time, Ai was raped. Advertise here. What happened? Nick Fury looked around in confusion. Why is everything normal again? Wasn't the entire surface of the Earth destroyed just now? Now it's alive. Tony and the others looked around at each other, and then at themselves. There is nothing wrong with their bodies, which means they are indeed alive. What was that just now? Hallucination. What have you done? Ultron stared at Ai. He was very sure that he had just self-destructed. But now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with my body. It's like nothing happened. Magical illusion. What magic did you use? Ultron knew what kind of spell this must be. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be resurrected. Thinking of a possibility, Ultron stared at him and spoke. Time magic resets time. No way. This is not time magic. In the dark dimension, Dormammu can see clearly. His eyes return to Caecilius again. That's not how time magic works. He has fought with the Ancient One for so many years and is very familiar with time magic. With the help of time gem, time magic can go back to a previous time point. But there is a premise, that is, you need to set a time point first. Then after casting time magic, you can return to the previous point. But Dormammu had just determined that Ai had no prelude to using time magic and set a time point. Covering the entire Earth, such a prelude to time magic consumes an exaggerated amount of magic power. As long as you use it, you can feel it and discover it. But just now, he didn't notice any magic fluctuations. What is that and why does it happen? How did he do it? Dormammu doesn't understand, this is beyond his knowledge. Even though I am considered a latitude Mephisto now, I still don't understand what is going on. This guy seems a bit hard to mess with. Dormammu has no physical body, and its entire existence is integrated into the dimensional space. A face of huge amounts as if frowning in thought. Then I decided to have a look. It can't be like this. It's absolutely impossible for me to self-destruct and return to where I am now. Quote. Immediately afterwards, Ultron saw Ai but did not take action. Just did it again. But this time the ending is the same. The surface of the Earth is completely destroyed, everything ceases to exist. The next second it returned to normal. Ultron stood there blankly, already a little confused. Time has really gone back, and he can't stop it at all. Why is this happening? How did you do it? Tony looked at this scene blankly, then turned to look at Wanda who had just arrived. Here, only Wanda is with Ai these days. So she should know, right? Time reversal. Wanda replied. Time reversal. What is this? Is it different from time magic? Wong and Modu looked at each other. They know time magic, and so does the Ancient One. But what Ai did was different from what they thought. What kind of time magic is this, and why is it time reversal, not time magic? Say it differently. It's not time magic, he should belong to the rule. Wanda actually doesn't know too many details. But this rule, she learned about it from Sithorn, the god of the underworld. Time magic is a ring-shaped point that requires medicine to locate. As for this time reversal, you can think that he turned back time and returned to the time he wanted to go. After saying that, Wanda saw that no one was paying attention to her. When she turned around, she saw everyone looking at her blankly, and even couldn't help but open their mouths. You know, if you say anything else, time will go back to where he wants it to be. The king knows the importance of time. This thing is too mysterious. Now it is said that Ai can. This is a fantasy. Then he's a god, Tony murmured. He is not talking about the kind of god Thor, but the legendary almighty god. Isn't he a god? Wanda glanced at the other party strangely. With Ai's power, she could already be regarded as a god. Wanda now knows what level single universe is and what multi-universe level is. And Ai must be at the multi-universe level. Then he is a complete god. Tony and others were speechless for a moment, not knowing what to say. Destroy. Lee stood high in the sky, looking at Ultron. Seeing that the other party has fallen into confusion, as if he is a little down. Raising his hand, the power of the god of destruction is unleashed. The opponent's body just started to collapse, dissipating bit by bit. In the end, one head of Ultron's body was left behind, and the others were completely annihilated. Chi controlled his head and fell to the ground. Lee threw it casually and Tony caught it. Tony looked at him strangely. Why didn't he kill him? His power is correct, and the intelligence of artificial intelligence is correct. Tony, you are successful. Lee replied. You just need to correct it. Don't forget that the ultimate goal of artificial intelligence is to serve mankind. As soon as he said this, Tony remembered that this failure was just a small mistake on their part. Although this small mistake is very fatal, it is not impossible to change. Protecting the Earth can be changed to protecting human beings. No, a little more detail needs to be changed: who to protect, that human being, and who can order him. These all need to be revised again. At this time, Lee stretched out his hand. Suddenly something appeared bit by bit in the empty palm. A gem comes from nothing and slowly condenses into shape. Then it really becomes the full file size of the gem. Mind gem. When Tony saw this gem, he remembered the gem on his mind scepter. Lee actually took out this gem. Is this what he wanted? Fake. Lee replied casually, and then placed the gem in Ultron's mind, completely integrating it into it. This gem is almost identical to the real mind gem, but the difference is that it does not exist as one of the infinite gems of this universe. Please give me flowers. You can just think of him as a mind gem from other worlds. What's the point? Tony was stunned. What's the difference between saying this and not saying it? Definitely, there are only a few infinite gems in this universe. If someone wants to combine the gems in the future, this gem is not the basic gem of this universe, so if you forcefully integrate it, bad things will happen. Lee said with a smile. Tony thought about it for a while and finally understood what he said. It's okay, I'm not planning on doing any infinite gems integrate. The most important thing is, how many infinite gems are still in Lee's hands? Who can snatch the gem from his hand? Lee suddenly raised his head and looked to the sky. Caecilius trembled, then felt Lee's gaze, and hurriedly opened a portal and slipped away. Caecilius, don't run. Wong and Modu saw him and shouted hurriedly. Lee didn't take action. If this person had killed him, Ancient One would have taken action long ago. 0. Since she kept it all this time, she must have her own plans. Dormammu's eyes returned to him, so Caecilius returned to normal. Go back in time. Dormammu was a little confused. What he just heard was a bit too exaggerated. This can no longer be regarded as a concept of magic, but can be considered as a basic rule of the universe. The basic rules of time, space, creatures, etc. Lee can turn back time, so what level is he, a god of the universe? What are the levels of the 4 gods? Or is it the strong presence of Galactus? Dormammu wasn't sure, but he felt that he might have to consider whether he should pay more attention to the Earth. If it's just Ancient One, just wait until the opponent dies. But with the addition of Lee, he was a little unsure. Dormammu ran away and did not come to Earth again for a long time. He even stretched his own dimension space very far away and never got closer to the solar system. Regarding this, after the detection magic of Holy Place noticed this, they all thought that Dormammu must be doing something big. This is a matter of accumulation. As a result, Holy Place became busy again and began to strengthen the defensive formation. Ultron was also recovered. Tony and others did not take matters into their own hands this time. Instead, it brought together think tanks from all countries and began to compile questions about its mission. Everything seems to be going well so far. Only something is wrong with Strange. Strange is a well-known New York surgeon. He is a standard atheist. After seeing the battle between Odin and Thor, he became even more convinced. Because those gods are aliens and not gods at all. Even for Lee, Strange believes that he relies on his own physical strength. Those strange energy beams should also be physical strength or technological power. Until he was brought back to the Holy Place by Gu. Thus, the new Sorcerer Supreme began his magical journey. Lee didn't care about these. He is currently being coaxed by the Kingpin, saying that he will attack Asgard. Chapter 120. The Aesir clan is destroyed, Hela in the dimension of death. Advertise here. Kingpin was well prepared. There are hundreds of subordinates, each of whom is roughly as strong as Sun Wukong in the world's best martial arts club. Definitely not weak, it can even be said to be very strong. The warriors of the Aesir clan are weak compared to them. Everyone is already at the top of the surface level in terms of combat power. Kingpin is even more powerful. With his extremely strong ability, he can easily defeat 10. Loki could be pinned to the ground and hammered standing in front of him, with no chance of resistance. Attack on Asgard, Earth's first battle. It is the first stop across the universe. Therefore, Jin Bin felt that for the sake of safety, it would be better to let Lee follow. He didn't refuse. After all, Asgard's problem hadn't been solved yet. Odin escaped, which is indeed a disaster. It would be better to kill him as soon as possible. Ever since, both parties hit it off and decided to set off. 200 soldiers, led by Jin Bin, were ready to go. Wanda is the left vanguard, Lee is the right vanguard. Then, Eileen teleported and took them all to Asgard. No Bifrost is needed, Eileen's teleportation is extremely convenient. Prepare to kill. As soon as it hits the ground. 097. Kingpin waved his hand and prepared to start the massacre mode, allowing his subordinates to perform freely. But suddenly he smelled the smell of blood, which made him realize something was wrong. There is no sun in the sky throughout Asgard, only dark clouds. Everywhere is full of flying sand and rocks. The smell of blood wafted everywhere, as if a war had been fought. Have you been here before? Jin Bin couldn't help but ask Ai Li, thinking that he had come here for a battle before. Otherwise, why would it be like this? If I had been here, why would I bring you here? It seems that something interesting happened in Asgard. Ai Li replied. The group walked step by step through the damaged Bifrost. The battle is very exaggerated, and there are traces of battle everywhere you look. Dead bodies were everywhere. A body fell down within a few steps. It looked like it had been dead for a long time. They were all fatal with one blow, and most of them were killed by swords, which were very sharp. There are very few who are killed by beast, and there is no resistance ability. After several subordinates investigated, they expressed their judgment. The group of people walked to the royal palace of Asgard and saw the state inside. There are more corpses here, throughout the hall. But I didn't see Odin's presence. And Odin obviously didn't intervene in the battle here. If Odin had taken action, the damage would not be as severe as this, if not more serious. Let me see what happened. Wanda said this, moved her hands, and red magic began to float. After slowly coming together, they became a mirror-like existence. The next moment, the mirror began to appear. A man in black robes holds a long sword. Then he walked step by step into the palace. Countless Aesir gods began to block each other, and the war slowly began. But no one is a match for this man. They will all die instantly with one sword strike. This man's strength is also very powerful. Even some of the Aesir's masters cannot make him take a step back. The speed was also extremely fast, and he crossed the entire hall in a flash and returned to the throne. In the scene, Odin is forced to retreat by the opponent's presence. Then he used his own power to escape from Asgard and left here. And this man held a long sword in his hand, and in conjunction with the dark monster he summoned, massacred the entire Aesir clan to death, leaving almost no one alive. At the end of the picture, the man seemed to feel something and actually turned his head to look at Wanda's magic picture. How is that possible? He can see me. Wanda said in surprise that according to Sithorn, her origin magic power is the absolute most powerful magic. Seeing the past shouldn't be a problem, no one should be able to find out. And the other party can actually see himself through time. Not a simple existence. Jin Bing also noticed this and looked around with a solemn expression. If the opponent is still here, a sneak attack may cause problems. Although Ai Li is powerful, Jin doesn't expect any surprises. After all, there seems to be something wrong with this man in black. Ai Li's mind moved and he discovered something interesting. After teleporting away, he reappeared the next second. There was someone beside him. Loki. Wanda and Kingpin looked at him in surprise. Thank God. Loki had actually changed his belief and completely relaxed after saying this. What's going on? Why are you here? Kingpin asked strangely. Loki was still on Earth before, after the invasion of the Karita aliens. The other party did not return to Asgard, but stayed on Earth. Later, he suddenly disappeared and everyone thought he had escaped on his own. But he didn't expect that he would come back in Asgard now. Aren't you afraid of Odin punishing him? I was forcibly brought back by Odin using Bifrost, saying that I would rule the giants of Jotunheim. Immediately afterwards, Luigi talked about the situation on his side. Odin made him king of the giants of Jotunheim, but Loki didn't want to. So he became stiff, and Queen Frigga interceded for him. For the time being he was placed in solitary confinement. But suddenly a man in black broke into Asgard and started killing. Odin also ran away in a hurry. He had to use his special magic to pretend to be dead, and he really escaped. It's unbelievable. That guy was simply not a human being. He killed everyone, even the prisoners in the prison. And he's weird. Speaking of this, Loki shuddered. He was actually able to gain that person's power after killing someone else. As long as the Aesir clan had divine power, they absorbed their divine power. It may be because of this that Odin ran away. It's over now, Odin is the only one left in the Aesir clan. Loki said helplessly, with some pain in his eyes. After all, he grew up in Asgard, and he couldn't accept the fact that so many people had died. Being a god king is no longer his dream, who would be a king without people? What exactly is it? Kingpin asked strangely. Jeer. Ai Li already knows the origin of this guy. According to what Loki said, and the image in Wanda's magic screen just now. Ai Li thought about the existence of this person. Jeer. What's your background? Jeer is a man from a barren planet. Due to the death of his lover and child, he no longer believes in the existence of gods in the world, so he is determined to eliminate the gods in the universe. That's it. How is that possible? Loki didn't believe it when he heard this. Can a person from a barren planet kill the death god spirit? This is no joke. When man cannot, he is different because he has obtained a sword, the Black Death Sword. Everyone immediately looked over and listened carefully to this thing. The Black Death Sword seems to be very powerful. Can a sword kill the death god? The Black Death Sword is the first symbiote created by the god of symbiotes. The Black Death sword can gain power through the blood of the god and can create a variety of duplications. Do you still remember the symbiote on Steve last time? It's actually the same thing as this sword. Hiss. Everyone couldn't help but gasp. Kill the enemy to obtain the blood of the god and gain power from it. Doesn't that mean that this person will become stronger the more he kills? This is the same as Captain America's symbiote, which has this characteristic. It's just that this Black Death sword is aimed at gods. Can you beat it? Kingpin asked cautiously. If it is targeting gods, doesn't it mean that Ai Li may also be targeted? That's not a problem. His existence is meaningless to me. Ai Li replied casually, and then looked at the empty Asgard. He came here this time, actually for another person. Ai Li took a few steps forward. Then, a divine power instantly swam in his hands. Then the space in front of him was torn open by him. In an instant, a powerful dark force burst out, making Jin Bin and others almost unable to bear it. In addition, this power also makes them feel like they are entering hell, and they have the illusion that they will die at any time. When Ai Li's hand stopped, the space crack in front of him was directly fixed by him, as if a door appeared. This is? Kingpin asked curiously. What a strange feeling. The divine power here seems to belong to Asgard. Loki is not an Aesir, but after staying there for so many years, he still knows the power of Asgard very well. This feeling is the feeling of divine power of the Aesir gods. It is exactly the same, but with different attributes. The daughter of Odin and Thor's biological sister. After Ai Li explained something, he took a step forward and walked inside. Behind, Loki stared blankly inside. What did he just hear? Is this the latitude of Thor's sister? How could he not know that Thor had a sister and Odin had a daughter? When did this happen? Who allowed you to enter my latitude? Aunt. At the moment, a domineering mature woman's voice came from the space crack. As soon as the woman's voice fell, there was a slap, and everyone who heard it was stunned. Who hits whom? Chapter 121 Hela sacrifices herself. Advertise here. The moment Ai Li stepped into the three-dimensional space, she felt the coldness around her. Countless darkness invaded, almost completely submerging him. With this kind of feeling, most people may not stay for a few minutes before being suffocated to death. But Ai Li is okay, this situation doesn't affect him yet. Odin sent you here, humph. When Ai Li took a few steps, a woman's voice sounded. The voice was very cold and somewhat imposing. It's as if she is the master here and everything is under her control. Ai Li, an outsider, made her very unhappy. Ai Li looked around, but still fell into darkness. After a moment of silence, he stretched out his hand. Suddenly the sky was covered with dark clouds, and then a bolt of thunder and lightning flashed across. Everything that shines illuminates the surroundings. It was also at this moment that the central image came into view. Thunder and lightning. The power of Asgard. Who are you? Hela spoke doubtfully, but then he realized that Ai Li ignored him, and his face darkened. Whoever allows you to enter my kingdom, get out of here. This temper is really bad. Alan glanced at the other party's position and thought silently. The light of thunder and lightning lasts only a moment, but the darkness cannot be driven away. If it's inconvenient, let's change it. Create, sun. Ai Li snapped his fingers and the voice appeared in his mouth. In an instant, the top of my head suddenly lights up. The entire space was illuminated, and a huge amount of fireball appeared in the sky. A very real sun, but the file size is many times smaller than the one in the solar system. But other than that, everything is exactly the same. Hela looked up dully. Own dimension space. Is there an extra sun in dead space? What the hell? It's much more comfortable to watch now. Ai Li is very satisfied with this file-size sun. The latitude of death suddenly felt a little warmer. At this time, looking towards the center, Ai Li moved and stood in front of Hela. A very beautiful woman, she even has a mature charm in her. Unlike those little lotus flowers that have never experienced big things. Such a woman makes people have more desire to conquer. But the other party doesn't look very comfortable either. Trapped in the center of the space, with more than a dozen chains binding her around. Each one is connected to the sky, and the endpoint cannot be seen clearly. The hoisted Hela was almost lying face down. In order to look at Ai Li, she could only raise her head hard and look at him. The clothes were not damaged at all, but there were some dried bloodstains on them. Was he whipped? It must be Odin. What are you looking at? Odin's lackeys. When Hela saw Ai Li actually looking at herself up and down, she felt insulted. So he opened his mouth and reprimanded angrily. But she didn't expect that just after she finished speaking, Ai Li walked up to her back and slapped her. Damn you. Hela had never been so humiliated before. Even Odin didn't dare to do this. He could only whip her away from his own hands and force her. Now, an inexplicable man actually treats her like this. Who is she? She is Hela. She must. Odin has escaped from Asgard, Thor was killed by me, and now the entire Aesir clan is almost extinct. Hiss. Hela was shocked when she heard what the other person said later. It has developed to this point, how come I don't know anything? Really? Then where is Odin now? Hela asked in confusion. Happiness came so suddenly that she couldn't recover. The one who was being chased escaped. The location is not yet certain, but if you look for it, you can't find it. Ai Li replied. There was another long silence. Hela was still digesting the information she heard. Then, he looked at him again. Then what's your purpose of coming here? It doesn't have any purpose. I just stopped by to have a look and meet Odin's eldest daughter. After all, it is said that you are also very good at fighting. Li looked around him as he spoke. I'm not sure if he can fight, but he looks like he can fight other women. The kind that can't lose. From Li's perspective, those who can currently compare with her. Gwen is almost the same. Compared to Wanda, she is slightly smaller in stature. After all, Wanda's front and back are really strong. Can I fight? Hela glanced at the other party unexpectedly. Li's operation just now almost blinded him. On her territory. A son was created in the kingdom of death. Who else can do this, making it seem as if this dimension is not your own, does not belong to Asgard, but belongs to Li. Now, you still say you can fight. You want to recruit me? Hela asked with a frown. Recruiting. I didn't think about it, I just thought it was interesting. Li replied subconsciously. I come, I see, I meet. That's all. If you can let me down, I can help you conquer the universe. Hela thought for a while and then suddenly spoke. She was obviously tied here, but she was talking about conquering the world. A little strange, but that's what Hela is about. Hela also understood how difficult it was for the other party to put her down. This is the latitude of death, the exclusive latitude of Hela. Besides her, only Odin can control it. Because Odin is the God King, his divine power and authority are told to himself. One day Odin dies and she can do whatever she wants. But now, Odin is not thick. So there are only two ways for Li to let herself go. First, rely on brute force to directly unlock it, but this premise is that Li is stronger than Odin and has higher divine power than Odin. This is impossible. Because Asgard is well known, Odin's authority is supreme in existence. He is the God King, unstoppable. How could there be any authority over Odin? The second method is to directly break through this dimension. Latitude of death, no more. Just smash it. This. Hela didn't believe it even more. I have no idea of conquering the universe, but. Li suddenly smiled. It doesn't seem impossible to let you out. In Hela's unexpected look, Li slowly tore open the space crack, and then took out a thing from inside. A heart. This is. Hela looked at this heart shaking a little. She didn't know why. Her body was trembling. The god's telekinesis trembles, her powers shrink. It seemed as if she had seen something extraordinary, which was too much for her to bear. This heart occupied all her eyes and all her thoughts. Whose heart is this? Hela couldn't help but ask. The feeling her heart gave her was so weird that it almost made her crazy. All his divine power was suppressed by the other party. How can a heart be like this? It can't be Odin's. The first god of the Aesir clan. Li answered. Bully. Sure enough, Hela just knows a little better. If Thor, Logic and others would have named Bol Brisson, Bree's son. Bully is the ancestor of the Aesir clan. Our surnames all come from him. I definitely know it. Hela seemed to see Li's surprise and explained aloud. Then look at him. Why do you have? Bully gave it to me. I defeated him and made him clean up his family, so he gave it to me before he died. After Li finished speaking, her heart slowly rose. The entire latitude of death began to slowly shake, getting bigger and more frequent. Finally, at a certain moment after a long time, the divine power and authority in the entire dimension of death completely disappeared. A point somewhere in the sky shattered, and the chains binding Hela disappeared after collapsing. At this moment, Hela became a free agent. After she became free, she came step by step. Then he arrived in front of Li and suddenly trapped him hard. What follows is active dedication. Hela actually turned into a knight. Has he been in Lima for a long time? Outside, Jin Bin and others asked in confusion. It's been more than an hour, right? Still no medical treatment. Just wait, there will be no problem with safety. Wanda replied casually. They can't enter this dimensional space because there are restrictions. And they also believe in Li. After the sound was heard immediately before, there was no more movement. So now they are waiting outside while others start harvesting in Asgard. You've come, you can't leave empty-handed. And there are no enemies, and there is less trouble to fight. It's also good to pick up ready-made ones. Loki is not here, but is harvesting with his subordinates. He was really uneasy, afraid that he would take too much. These are all Asgard's treasures, each one is extremely precious. Until, a group of people arrived at Odin's treasure room and saw several treasures inside. He quickly joined forces with Wanda to check the entrance of their room. I didn't expect it was your first time. Li snapped her fingers and 2 new sets of clothes appeared. While putting it on, he opened his mouth towards Hela. But it's a bit too casual, I'm not ready. Don't get me wrong, this is just a thank you. After Hela finished speaking with a reddish complexion, she turned to face the dimension of death. Chapter 122 Hela's past, is Mjolnir hers? Advertise here. After just the force of Bully's heart, leading now to the entire latitude of death. It is ownerless. Yes, Bully's heart cut off all their authority. Whether it's Hela's or Odin's, they're all cut apart. So the death latitude is now an ownerless latitude. If someone can enter it now, they can directly absorb and integrate it and seize this latitude. If you want to avoid it, you must naturally absorb this latitude now. Hela started trying to reintegrate. Li, on the other hand, didn't bother her and just watched her operations. What's the situation? In the distant universe, there is a special dimensional space doorway. Odin is standing at the door waiting for this dimension to open, inviting himself in. Suddenly his body shook, and his divine power was reduced a bit. Somewhat confused, I began to feel the changes in myself. Finally, he found that his practice with the dimension of death was gone. A mouthful of old blood almost spurted out, and things became more and more dramatic. The killer in black suddenly appeared in blood-bathed Asgard. He originally wanted to fight, but Odin, who had already entered the dormant period, felt uncomfortable all over. His strength was out of 10, so he had no choice but to retreat. But in this way, Asgard was completely destroyed. Others discovered that although the strength of the man in black was not strong at the beginning, he kept killing and became stronger and stronger. In the end, I was almost the same as I was in my heyday. Odin was stunned. If you run out now, it's hard to go back to Asgard. I can only rely on other statements to find a solution. But I didn't expect that the death latitude was gone. What does this mean? On behalf of his baby daughter Hela, he ran out from inside. If Hela and the man in black met, it would be the best outcome for the two of them to go back and forth and die together in the end. Odin thought it was unlikely. Damn, Asgard has been unlucky lately. Why does everything always go wrong? The smaller Odin gets, the angrier he gets. Now the only things left in his hand are a tree of life and 2 trump cards, Soul Castle. If something goes wrong, my role as God King will be meaningless. No, now he is just a polished commander, which means nothing. Yo, isn't this our great God King Odin? Why do you have time to come and sit here with me? I remember you didn't look down on us in the past. A man's voice with an extremely strange tone spoke, and then the voice got closer and closer. The dimensional space was opened, and the man appeared in an extremely gorgeous carriage, sitting on an extremely exaggerated carriage. Zeus. Odin had a dark face and spoke to the other party. Yo, this is not an attitude of asking for help. Zeus smiled. Let's go. Watching Hela successfully accept the latitude of death. As soon as Li stretched out his hand, the dimensional space was instantly torn open, opening a channel. Hela looked at him with a strange expression. Why did you tear it apart so easily when you already had complete control? Even I can't even stop it. Just like. The other party simply ignored his existence, and everything here belonged to the other party. She was a little worried just now, whether Li would be greedy and interrupt her when she absorbed the authority. Then he absorbed this dimensional space himself. After all, a dimension is a fatal attraction for a being. Integrate dimensional space, distance latitude Mephisto goes one step further. Countless people want it but can't get it. The other party simply ignored it. The two walked out of the passage and returned to Asgard. Breathe fresh. Hela was just about to take a breath of fresh air when she suddenly asked about the smell of blood and was startled. Then I contacted Asgard and was a little surprised by the changes here. The Aesir clan, don't destroy them. With some emotion, she even said that she would become the king here, but she didn't expect it. I didn't kill this. Li said again. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't need these people. I will have my army of death. Hela opened her arms, extremely proud. Then she found that Li was the only one looking at her, and there was no feeling of shock in her eyes, which was really boring. Well, Li noticed her discomfort, so she thought about it and hesitated for a second. Snap, snap, snap. Army of death. So cool, I love it. You can be a little bit more fake. Hela replied with the corner of her mouth twitching, and then walked towards the palace first. Walking in front, where Li can't see. Hela then showed a smile. After all, it's quite interesting that Li can echo her thoughts. It's already very good for a strong person to be able to do this, isn't it? After all, most strong men are too proud, such as Odin. Walking into the royal palace, a group of Jin Bin subordinates were carrying things. Then I saw Li and Hela, and hesitated for a moment. He nodded and walked out along the side of the palace. Ahem, we originally wanted to attack Asgard, but then we saw that everyone was dead, so we took something back with us. Li is a little embarrassed. He released the eldest princess here, and then his men moved things in front of the master. Some of them are indeed quite inappropriate. It doesn't matter, I don't like it anyway. It's all the rotten smell that Odin is embarrassed about. Hela replied. At this time, Wanda and Kingpin also came here and saw Hela. After the introduction, the two of them found out each other's identity, which was a bit surprising. Because Hela and the others had never heard it from Loki's mouth before. Sister. Loki looked at the other party in confusion. It looks like, she's very gentle and pretty. Is this really Odin's daughter? They are both children, but Thor is the complete opposite. How can that stupid fool have such a sister? What did you call me? Hela looked at him strangely. One of the giants of Jotunheim, calling me sister. Loki's first reaction was to get angry because he was brought back by Odin and treated as someone else's son for thousands of years. He also regarded himself as a person from Asgard, and the other party undoubtedly slapped him in the face when he said that. But then I was surprised that the other party could see my change at a glance. This is something that many gods cannot see. What followed was an explanation, letting Hela know what was going on. Humph, this kind of trick, ever since the old guy started being indecisive, he likes to play this kind of calculation. It's his character, Hela said disdainfully, according to her habit. For direct suppression like giants of Jotunheim, just kill the leader, and then train a leader to be loyal to Asgard. If that doesn't work, kill again. Is there any need to steal other people's children? These treasures are trash, the real treasures are down there. Quote. Hela took them to the treasure room, and then mocked everything here with disdain. Walking to the center of the treasure room, Hela appeared with two powers in her hand, and then inserted them into the ground. The ground shattered, and a dark cave appeared. Hela fell backward casually, and then fell into the abyss. Not long after, Hela appeared again. But this time she has a handsome wolf sitting down. Fenrir. Loki recognized him instantly. This wolf has been recorded in the myth of Asgard. It is said that it followed Odin in the past and conquered all directions. Then he died in the end, and his body was buried well. But I didn't expect to be here. Are you surprised? Hela couldn't help but smile when she saw Loki's reaction. Oh, Fenrir also whined directly. Hela enjoyed everyone's surprise and confusion, because it made her very happy. But seeing that Ai was still as casual as before, he couldn't help but curled his lips. Does this guy even know this? With a thought, she led everyone back to the hall, and then the authority appeared again and shot directly to the top of the hall. The mural that was originally engraved with Odin's blessings in every place in the 9 realms was instantly shattered. Then the carvings of when they conquered the 9 realms revealed the truth. This time Loki really couldn't sit still, Li Jiaohao. That's it. Mjolnir. Loki saw in the mural that Hela was actually riding Fenrir next to Odin. Even Fenrir is a little bit more than Odin, which is very surprising. What he couldn't accept even more was that the weapon Hela was holding was actually Thor's Mjolnir. But Odin clearly said, Mjolnir was actually customized by him for Thor, so he called it Mjolnir. This is not right. Are you talking about Mjolnir? That was my earliest weapon. When I conquered the dwarf transition, I asked them to fight. Hela smiled. Glancing at Ai again, he was still not surprised. Sigh, do you know everything? Ai was stunned. Why did you suddenly ask me about your story? You told me your story. Otherwise, why are you not surprised at all? From just now to now, you have always felt like a bystander and don't care at all. These are actually not secrets. I do know them, Ai replied. Sure enough, Hela curled her lips in an uninterested manner, thinking of looking at the other person's surprised look. Behind her, Wanda could not help but narrow her eyelids slightly when she saw this scene. She sensed that there seemed to be something wrong between the two of them. This relationship. Chapter 123 The True Appearance of the World Tree. Advertise here. Ai's reaction made Hela a little disappointed. She knew that Ai was from Earth, so she wanted to shock him in this way. Even if my body is gone, I have to have a sense of accomplishment. But until now, Ai has acted very indifferent, and everything is under the control of the other party. It's boring, Hela said boringly. Then his eyes fell on Wanda and he raised his eyebrows. Yo, are you Ai's woman? Do you believe I crushed you and used it as a rice ball? Wanda couldn't help but speak when she saw her teasing tone. Ha ha, funny woman, ignorant. Hela laughed out loud after hearing her words. Someone actually said that they would crush themselves into pieces. I'm afraid you don't know where this is. This is Asgard, your own territory. As long as you are here, you will become infinitely stronger. Especially since Odin is not here. Don't laugh, she is really good. Ai reminded Wanda when she saw that she was ready to take action. As soon as he said this, Hela looked at Wanda strangely. At the moment she discovered. It seems that this woman really seems to be a bit extraordinary. Can't you really beat me? Hela asked with some uncertainty. You really can't beat me, Ai said again. This time there was no need for Hela to wonder, because Wanda instantly burst out with origin magic power. This oncoming powerful force made Hela subconsciously enter a fighting state. The clothes all over his body were transformed into combat tights. The hair also turned into a sharp weapon that reached the sky, and a sense of death and decay emerged. It wasn't until Wanda took back her strength that Hela twitched the corners of her mouth and didn't continue. Are you really from Earth? Hela was a little confused. There seems to be no such strong person in the Earth she knows. Wrong. There are strong people, but it is impossible to have these few. In a matter of thousands of years, the Earth has suddenly gained so many strong men that it equals its gods. Okay, these are not the important points. Let's look at the most important things instead. Ai's joking time ended here, and he walked toward the back of the hall. A group of people followed closely behind. But no one knew where he was going, and they were all a little angry. Sister. Do you know where he is going? Loki quickly stepped forward in embarrassment. After walking to Hela's side, he called out hesitantly and asked. Hela looked at him disdainfully, and finally sighed and agreed. I don't know how I could know his purpose after I haven't been back for many years. But you didn't come with him, didn't you know? Hela did not refute Loki's title, and had obviously accepted her sister's personality status. This made Loki a little happy. After all, Hela looks very strong. And now Asgard, the opponent is also the last Aesir. Although we are together, but I really don't know, Loki replied awkwardly. Hearing this, Hela was a little suspicious. Especially when the other party took them to the back of the palace with ease. This is Odin's second hall, but the file size is countless times smaller than outside. Most of the time, Odin is outside holding meetings with people within his clan. Or BCC, Queen Frigga was here when she was doing other things. Therefore, the decoration here is more like a witch's palace. Mysterious purple and gray become the main colors. Above the head, a piece of false starry sky magic remains, and there are countless stars dotted on it. Every star is moving, causing the starry sky to constantly change. Mother's palace, Loki said with emotion as he looked at this place. Hela had a look of nostalgia in her eyes. The next moment, she looked at Eileen strangely. What are you doing here? To go to the most mysterious place in Asgard, don't you know? After Eileen answered, he looked at Hela strangely. This expression was very similar to when the other party was telling a story just now. Apparently, he was really teasing Hela. To return what she said to herself before, that is, she felt that their vision was not good enough. Ah, Hela was startled. A mysterious place. She began to look around, but there was nothing wrong in her memory. From the time she can remember, this palace has been here. But I never knew there was anything special about it. Turning to Loki, his eyes asked him. Loki also shook his head, expressing his ignorance. Hela observed for a while but still couldn't find it, so she waited for Eileen's answer. In the curious eyes of everyone, Eileen also found the gap here. A gap in space. But before that, in order to avoid forcing it to open and causing the place to collapse directly, Eileen found Bully's heart from the crack in his own space. Never let go of secondary use. Again, Hela's eyes jumped when she saw her heart. She had already experienced the coercion of this thing, and yet she did it again. But this time it was different from hers. The moment the heart came out, Eileen smashed it directly with force. The next second, the debris in my heart floated directly to the top. Then he began to merge into those stars. As this, Hela looked at this scene strangely. Why does the ancestor's heart float to the top of the starry sky and integrate into it? This is a secret room, a very interesting magic circle, Eileen replied while operating it. If I open it forcefully, there may be unexpected space turbulence. I don't care, but you may be in danger, and if you mess around, the next time you come here, you can only rely on my teleportation. So, only the power of the Aesir gods can open it, and you are still a little weak. Being named by Eileen like this makes me feel a little weak. Hela rolled her eyes at him dissatisfied. But he didn't say anything. After all, I am indeed much weaker than the opponent, but it is also because I hit someone. What's in here? Wanda also started to get a little curious. She could feel a powerful force slowly emerging, but she couldn't determine its attribute. It seems very special. And this power does not destroy, but Sha Sheng. A power derived from life. The extent to which she can feel it now has surpassed that of anyone else. Except Eileen. The World Tree. Eileen replied lightly. Ah, what? World Tree. My god. The legendary World Tree. In an instant, all the people looked at Eileen with excitement. World Tree. What kind of existence is that? World Tree is a tree in Norse mythology. In Norse mythology, the branches of this giant tree make up the entire world. Some also called him Eldrasil. It is a powerful energy field that is nothing but the shape of a tree and connects adjacent dimensions. Such as Earth Midgard, Jotunheim, Asgard. It is connected by this world tree, and therefore Asgard slowly wants to gain control of the other 8 divine realms. Because Asgard was the first latitude to control the world tree. Each divine domain can enter the world tree. This is the setting from the beginning. But later Bu used his own method to seal the passages between the other 8 latitudes and the world tree. Only Asgard can enter it. Then Bully hid the passage between himself and the world tree. Therefore, no one will know the location of the passage except the divine kings of the past dynasties. Eileen's approach also made the channel visible to others for the first time. Let's go. Eileen's power slowly withdrew. When the divine power was not continuously used, the channel stabilized. A road extended down from the top of the starry sky and arrived in front of them. It is obvious that the distance between the ground and the top is less than 10 meters, but there is no end visible at a glance. The confusing road made everyone a little disbelieving, and then followed Eileen step by step. Kingpin tapped his toes several times unsteadily. After making sure it won't collapse, I walked up. Walking in step by step, after entering the starry sky, I haven't finished walking yet. The whole person entered and disappeared into the apse, and then everyone seemed to be physically traveling through the universe. This is really a bit charming. Kingpin couldn't help but said while looking at the starry sky passing around him. After all, it is also the passage into the world tree. It must be made more beautiful. Eileen replied. After walking for about 10 breaths, everyone seemed to have passed through a barrier. After the film penetrated everyone's body, everyone suddenly entered another world. As this dimension space, Hela felt the sensation on her body and asked curiously. But after he finished speaking, he found that no one answered him. When she raised her head, she was completely stunned. So beautiful, Wanda murmured subconsciously. This world is so special. This tree is really big. Jin Bin tried his best to lift his neck. Looking at the giant tree in the sky, I was almost so shocked that I didn't know what to say. Eileen at the moment also felt a little shocked. It is really not easy for a tree to do this. No wonder it can connect 9 worlds and create 9 divine realms. It is not easy for Bully to take possession of this tree as his own. A huge tree in the sky, golden in color, almost extending to the sky. Chapter 124. Absorbing the world tree, Odin's home was stolen. Advertise here. In this special space, the file size of the giant tree in the sky may exceed everything that can be known. Planet. May be pretty much the same. The space file size is also very exaggerated. Eileen's the god's telekinesis swept through it, almost as much as a solar system. This big tree occupies the center position. The roots of the tree are embedded in the bottom and intertwined. Countless rhizomes protrude from the ground and stretch out in all directions. Their position is almost close to the border, but even so, the exposed tree roots are almost as thick as the dragon's body. It's hard to imagine how thick it is inside. From the trunk to the branches, they are all golden in color, as if they were made of gold. Among them, the 9 branches are the strongest, extending out to the outside of the space, and then disappear. That should be the connected 9 divine realms. Although the remaining branches are thinner than the others, they still stretch out for endless distances. Then it keeps bifurcating, and then the bifurcation grows again, covering the entire top. The first moment Li saw this tree, he thought of another image of a tree. That's the tree in the old man's ring in the game. The appearance is almost identical, only the file size is different. Maybe the designer of the old headband also read this mythical story and then painted it according to this image. Is this the world tree? Hela looked at the tree with a strange expression. As a member of the Aesir clan, and she followed Odin to conquer the universe in the early days. The legend of the world tree is definitely not bad. I have been hearing this story since I was a child, but never got the chance to see it. Today, she really saw it with her own eyes. Some emotions, but also some different feelings. With so many branches, if the world tree continues to extend, will it be able to continue to connect the planets? Then there are more than 9 divine realms. Jin Bing was a little curious. As soon as it appeared, it connected several worlds. Then let it grow slowly, will it be able to connect more? A dozen or 20. If the world tree continues to grow, wouldn't Asgard be conquered one by one and become invincible? Actually, the world tree was not 9 worlds at the beginning, but 10. Hela said suddenly. What? Is there such a thing? Loki was stunned after hearing this. He had never heard of it. The first reaction was that the other party was talking nonsense. Everyone knew about the 9 divine realms of the world tree. Why did the 10th world appear? But then I thought of the other party's identity and stopped thinking so. Because Hela is none other than Odin's eldest daughter, and she is also an extremely powerful being. She is thousands of years older than them, she said, and Loki is not qualified to refute. The 10th world. What world? Li didn't know about this either. This was the first time he heard about it, and the rumors on Earth had never happened before. Want to know? Please ask me. Hela suddenly smiled. Then she turned to look at Li and joked, she thought Li knew everything. Now it seems that this is not the case, right? In an instant, Hela became interested and winked at Li. In this way, how can anyone mature who has lived for thousands of years? She is a naughty woman in real life. Are you sure? Li asked with a smile when he saw her look in need of a beating. One sentence made Hela startled. Then he closed his mouth angrily, coughed, and then began to speak seriously. Actually, it was connected to 10 worlds at the beginning, but later the owner of that world didn't care about Odin's interests, and was even dissatisfied with Odin. Then he directly betrayed him and no longer fell under Asgard's jurisdiction. So Odin could only go to the world tree in anger, and then forcibly broke the connection between the opponent's world and the world tree. And this is something that only a few people in the Aesir clan knew before. Hela's eyes fell on the very thick branch. That branch was broken. Not surprisingly, it should be the one broken by Odin. I thought it was just a legend. Hela finally sighed. Now it seems that it is not fake, but a real thing. The one you're talking about, can't be. Kingpin was suddenly startled, and then looked at Hela strangely. So far, Kingpin has entered the universe. He also knew that there was Zeus and Odin in the universe. But one is missing. Now it seems that if the last one is correct, there will be nothing wrong. It can't be God, can it? You must know that many of the legends on Earth are related to these worlds. So far, only God has not appeared, and it is not impossible. God is not, their tribe calls him angel. Hela replied. Everyone was stunned. Isn't this God's camp? It should be a branch. Angel is angel, God is God. Li spoke at this time. After chatting for a while, everyone knew that they could not stay here for long. The most important thing is that they have no meaning here. Kingpin and Wanda Loki all retreated into the passage and left here. Hela wanted to see more, but when she saw Li kept looking at the world tree and ignored her. Knowing that the other party had a plan, he said that he was going to resurrect the army and left. Li shed alone, looking at the branches of the world tree. Li moved his body and flew directly to it. He put a palm on the trunk of the world tree and started sensing. Chi and divine power were used together, spreading in the tree trunks. Soon, he found what he wanted. A special touch of the god's telekinesis. Bully turned the world tree into the property of Asgard. Later, every god king controlled the world tree. It can be said that Yggdrasil is the largest gold finger in Asgard. Because of this, Odin can continue to improve his strength, because he has the support of the world tree. Within this tree, there is a trace of Odin, the god's telekinesis link. In addition, he also felt the god's telekinesis from Bully and Bull, but unfortunately it has slowly dissipated now and is almost gone. Because both of them are dead. Destroy. After Li closed her eyes and locked onto Odin's the god's telekinesis, divine power instantly invaded. If you just simply destroy the world tree, there is no need to do this at all. Ask for flowers. Li can just use the power of destruction from a distance. But what he wants is for the world tree to remain intact and to destroy the god's telekinesis inside. So you must catch it. In an instant, the divine power of destruction rushed directly into the world tree. The tree trunks began to tremble and the leaves began to fall. The golden leaves fell to the ground and disappeared, blending directly into it, and then turned into power to nurture the world tree again. And the power of destruction also caught Odin's the god's telekinesis. The god's telekinesis, which was powerless to resist, just disappeared into thin air, without even a little bit of energy left. In the distant realm of void, Zeus allowed Odin to enter the latitude of Olympus. Then it's a normal process, start the party. It's said to be a party, but it's actually a personal show by Zeus. A throng of his concubines danced. Below, my son Hercules demonstrates his strength. Zeus also showed off his power towards Odin from time to time, which made Odin very unhappy. Because his son has not yet been resurrected in the Soul Castle. Last time, Eile's power was too strong and the price of Thor's death was too high. Soul Castle was also severely damaged. Even Odin will take a long time to repair again. He was enduring the huge stone man around him, shouting excitedly and squeezing his position. Odin was very unhappy. Suddenly, Odin's face turned solemn, and then the divine power began to surge all over his body. Odin, are you provoking me? Zeus said, feeling the divine power surging in Odin's body and narrowing his eyes. How could it be? Odin replied, forcing a smile. But my heart was filled with panic. My connection to the world tree is gone. It's okay if his Asgard home is gone. The worst he can do is start over. But if the world tree is gone, then my hometown is really stolen. Damn it, is it that Eile again? Now that there is no connection, it is impossible for Odin to enter the latitude of the world tree. He has no authority. The only way to enter is by returning to Asgard. But if you go back, you may bump into Eile and the mysterious man holding the Black Death sword. That may really be gone forever. When Zeus saw Odin smile, he also laughed in his heart. He also felt an unconnected divine power on Odin just now. At that moment, Odin's strength suddenly dropped a little. As a priest, he definitely believes that divine power comes from the authority of faith. The next step is realization. When Eile comes to World Tree, the most important thing is to understand. The beauty of the World Tree will definitely give you a different surprise. So, he came to the top of the World Tree, which is also the highest point, and sat down directly on the top of the tree. The divine power extended downwards from the body, directly covering the entire tree. Slowly realizing the difference of the World Tree, looking for the power of this tree. His understanding is not a problem at all for this realization. What Eile has to do is to analyze the origin and structure of the World Tree. The next moment, he discovered something. Chapter 125. The water from the Fountain of Wisdom completely eliminates Asgard. Advertise here. You have identified the structure of the World Tree, using the space gem as a medium, you have understood it. You have successfully analyzed the World Tree. There is no doubt about the power of the World Tree. As long as the analysis can be successful, it will definitely benefit you a lot. Sure enough, the answer was already there the next moment. You successfully analyzed the World Tree. With the understanding of infinite gems, you know the structure of the world and you found the barriers of the world. Close black lens bracket. It's not over yet. Eile was sure that his understanding was far more than that, so he continued to research and continued to find the answer he wanted. Outside world, Wanda and others have all arrived at the clearing of Asgard. The treasures moved here are all treasures from Asgard, although some of them are not considered treasures. But for the Earth, it is indeed quite useful. I can't give you this. Hela looked at the defensive magic array that everyone had moved, and immediately jumped on it and stood up and said. This. Jin Ping was a little reluctant to part with it. This thing is the best choice among them all. If you take it back and study it, the Earth's protective shield. Even the spacecraft they make can be safer. This is really not possible. Hela replied with a dark face. She wanted 947 to become the new king of Asgard, and all the manpower was recruited again. But that doesn't mean she doesn't need to defend herself. It's impossible for him to stay away from Asgard for the rest of his life, right? If you leave alone, there is no defensive formation. Not everyone can invade this Asgard. Anything will work, but this won't work. Hela said firmly. There was no way that the cornerstone of the magic circle would be taken away by the other party. Even if Eile comes forward, it won't work. In that case, I'll take a step back. Seeing that she was so determined, Kingpin didn't force him and just changed her mind. Can you give me this wolf? Fenrir looked at Kingpin blankly, and then looked at Hela pitifully. Master wants to give me away. What the FK? Hela only felt that she was a little superior. I can say anything, but you're going to attack my pet. Why didn't you say take Asgard away? Stop arguing. Hela, do you think that's normal? Wanda looked at the fight between the two with a smile and didn't care, because she knew that with Eile here, they would all negotiate in the end. Suddenly my heart palpitated and I looked at the sky of Asgard. Then he spoke to several people with condensed expressions, and then turned back to Hela. Hearing Wanda's voice, Hela looked strange. Following her gaze, she also noticed the sky. Instantly, Hela's expression was extremely serious, and her first reaction was to turn her head and look in the direction of the royal palace. Behind that is the location of Hesiod's World Tree Passage. The sky is filled with everything golden, and everything visible to the naked eye is covered by gold. It's like the overall color palette has turned into golden light. Not only Asgard, but also Earth, Jotunheim, Vanaheim, Alfheim, Vad Alheim. Even the world of Hell Hades, a place of eternal night, a cold and foggy world that only the dead can reach, was completely covered by golden light at this time, illuminating the entire ghost world. This is the world tree. Gila and others saw countless stripes in the golden light in the sky. And the stripes joined together. It's clearly the texture of the tree trunk and leaves. The world tree appears. So, what exactly did Li do to the world tree to cause this? At the moment, Odin has no idea. Because his connection with the world tree has long been severed. Now he is on Zeus's stage with a dark face, letting Zeus tease him. You slowly mastered the world tree based on the principles of the world tree, and you had an epiphany. You found the passage to the world tree and successfully mastered the world tree. Li integrated the world tree. At the moment he stood here, he could already perceive the power of this tree. And he can use the power of the tree to reach any world in the 9 realms, and he can do it without teleportation. 18. It's not a big deal. Li can already do it, so it's just a bonus convenience. Create. The most important thing is the divine power of Li. Divine power is the foundation of everything. Only by mastering more powerful divine power can we truly improve our strength. The remaining little conveniences are all in vain. The divine power of creation opens. A small tree appeared in front of Li instantly. The file size is very mini, only as big as a 2-liter Coke bottle. The branches and buds are not spread out so much. However, under the urging of Li's magical power, it gradually became bigger and bigger. But after reaching a certain level, there is no more growth. You still need support from the world. Li discovered it when integrating the world tree. The world tree connects the 9 divine realms together. It is not just like this. It is also absorbing the power of the 9 divine realms to nourish its own vitality. The two can be said to be in a state of mutual benefit. The tree of Li only has the initial file size. If you want to become stronger, you need to learn from the world tree. He wants to contact the world, connect it to the world tree, and then he can. This is not difficult. Li knows that contacting the planets in the universe is not a problem at all for him, and there is no difficulty at all. The people of the Aesir clan, the former bully and later Bull. So much so that Odin, they did not allow the world tree to continue to contact other planets. He now knew why. Because they can't afford it. Their divine power is limited, and even part of it comes from the world tree. So the power of the world tree will make them stronger. But if they are powerful to a certain extent, their own bodies will not be able to bear it. In this case, how could it be possible to allow the world tree to extend? So, after Odin conquered the 9 realms, he didn't think about expanding. He was afraid that the world tree was still extending, so he decided to stop there and stay and defend. Then that angel's dimension was not broken by Odin in anger. It's because his body can't withstand the absorption speed of the world tree, that's why he does this. So to say, Li reached out and stroked the trunk of the world tree. I'm so sorry that you found such a rubbish master. Wow, perhaps because he could understand Li's words, the world tree actually shook, with thousands of leaves falling down. Before Li could express anything, suddenly, above the ground, a small well emerged from the roots of the world tree. The mouth of the well is only about the size of a file for one person to enter. If Li didn't control everything around him, the huge world tree appears like this, and you can't even see it. As soon as he reached the edge of the well, he was immediately struck by a burst of divine power that made him feel dizzy. What a strong source of divine power. This is the legendary well of wisdom. Li was a little suspicious, and then he directly used his divine power to pour some out immediately. After drinking it in one gulp, I instantly felt that my whole body began to relax. Wisdom does not mean that drinking it will make your brain grow or your IQ will become more or less, but it will give you some unique abilities. For example, Odin predicts the future, which is one of its manifestations. The special power he emerged from. It seems that there is, looking directly at myself, my mental strength becomes more solid. That's it. It probably doesn't work for me anymore. This thing is not bad, please decorate it more. Didn't you say there was a giant guarding you? Li looked around. Wow, the world tree swayed again. Li understood his words. Is it the giant you control? That's right, you can give it if you want to, but you can't if you don't want to. Speaking of which, Odin prevented the world tree from continuing to develop. Although I gained strength, I also lost a lot. Like one of his eyes. Returning to the top of the world tree, Li began to absorb the power of the world tree. The other party did not refuse, but instead transferred his power obediently. The reason is simple. Li agreed to the world tree. From today on, he can stretch freely. Even if he had the ability to absorb the entire universe, Li would not stop him. Nothing will happen to him. This is in line with the purpose of the existence of world tree. 1.0. When Li came out, a group of people were still in Asgard. There's no way, they can't leave without Li. Bifrost is dead, and Wanda doesn't know the coordinates of the Earth. You can't fly across the universe with a group of people, right? Gila wants to help but can't do anything. She is extremely powerful in Asgard, but teleportation is not her specialty. But there is nothing to do. A group of people practice here. The environment in Asgard is very good, which is conducive to the practice of these subordinates who practice chi. Kingpin also teaches these combat methods on Earth, especially the recent technological warfare. Gila was very enlightened after listening to it. It was much more interesting than when they fought before. As soon as Li appeared, everyone ran over after noticing it. His appearance means that you can finally go back. Are you okay? Wanda asked worriedly. The reaction of the world tree is so great that no one can guarantee whether Li is really safe inside. It's definitely okay. I brought you some good stuff. After Ai finished speaking, he took out a cup of water from the wisdom spring. The moment Gila saw the spring water, Gila stiffened. Chapter 126 Across the Universe, the Zombie Universe and the Magical World. Advertise here. Fountain of Wisdom. Gila was shocked. This thing is really good. No one in all of Asgard has ever owned it, only Odin has drunk it. Thor drank a little before. Is this the Fountain of Wisdom? Loki was extremely surprised, because he had seen this thing with his own eyes. It was when I was going out to play with Thor when I was a child, an accident happened and Thor seemed to be injured. Then Odin gave him this to drink. I didn't expect it to be a Fountain of Wisdom. This old man is really willing to give up. Gila was really a little unhappy when she heard this. She followed the expedition in all directions and traveled all over the country, right? He didn't get anything and was directly imprisoned. And Thor can actually drink from the Fountain of Wisdom. It's okay. We have plenty now, every day and every day. Ai smiled and said, everyone was shocked when he said this, with a countryman expression. The points were scored, and no one was short of them. In the end, Loki was left looking at Ai pitifully. Gudong. Watching everyone drink, Loki felt envious and felt uncomfortable all over. Then I couldn't help but get closer to Ai. What? Ai looked at him. This guy couldn't be ashamed, right? Who are you, asking me for the Fountain of Wisdom? Brother-in-law. Loki immediately licked his face and shouted with a smile. Gila looked at her cheap brother strangely. Then he thought for a moment, took a few drops from his cup, and handed it over. This. Loki looked at Gila in shock. The other party is actually so kind to me. If you don't work hard for me in the future, you will even feel sorry for me. Gila said calmly. But when the ground passed, I was still a little reluctant to let go. Okay, let's gather around. 11. The spring water was so abundant that he drained all the well water. The number is at least as large as a small river, just one mouthful. Just call Loki's brother-in-law, it doesn't hurt to give it to him. Thank you, brother-in-law. Loki immediately replied happily. Gila glanced at Loki. This guy was more shameless than she expected. Just like this, it's definitely suitable to be a diplomat in Asgard in the future. Ai brought everyone back to Earth. Gila stayed in Asgard to continue to increase her power, and also completed her army of undead. After staying in Asgard for one day, her strength increased a bit, which is a very good ability. And Ai teleported to an uninhabited planet in the solar system, and then slowly began to try to connect to the world tree. Sure enough, a branch slowly extended out in the next second, wrapping the planet. It works. It must be done step by step, and it must start from the 9 divine realms and extend outward. After Ai determined that there was no problem, he let the world tree develop on its own. This way you don't need to control it yourself. It can also allow the world tree to expand slowly without making too big a step. This time Ai not only gained control of the world tree, but also created a small world tree by himself. He also got a little benefit. Divine power supply from the world tree. That's right, all the divine power given to the Aesir clan has been stopped. The world tree in turn gave all this power to Ai. In an instant, his strength surged to a terrifying level. This is the power that the world tree has slowly absorbed over millions of years. Part of it was not completely integrated into the tree, and all was fed back to Ai. Odin and the others have always wanted to get this power, but unfortunately they couldn't bear it. But Ai can. Because his realm has reached the multi-universe level. At this time, he can completely withstand these forces. Even more is okay. He now exists beyond human understanding. In other words, his current strength is probably almost the same as that of the 4 gods. The only difference is that he is a human being and has a physical body, and his physical body is also ridiculously powerful. World tree. What if my world tree can extend directly? Ai took out his world tree. The world tree is from the 9 divine realms. There is no zig in the word world tree. It is Ai's own, so it is easy to distinguish. After all, the world tree was born by the universe itself. It has independent consciousness and has survived for so many years. It makes its own decisions with its own thoughts. And his own world tree is what truly belongs to him. Using his divine power, Ai teleported to a distant fixed star. The powerful heat can burn everything almost instantly. But there was no reaction at all to Ai's body. The energy generated by this fixed star is several times greater than that of the sun, but it cannot break Ai's physical defense. The world tree was sacrificed, and divine power slowly connected it to the fixed star. In the blink of an eye, fixed star seemed to consciously want to resist. But in the face of Ai's control, this was a meaningless action, and he was suppressed the moment he almost resisted. A very magical connection was created. Ai can feel the power of the other party. He can even destroy this planet at any time. There is no need to destroy divine power or use the power of chi. It can be done with just one thought, and you can control it as you wish. This feeling is more interesting than destroying the planet with the power of the god of destruction. Ai found that she seemed to like this feeling very much. Could it be that she also likes to destroy? No, I should say that I like to be in control. No one has any desire to control. Then Ai began to flash in the universe, and he began to look for a suitable planet. Let's put it aside for now. After all, I don't know if I will accidentally kill all the lives. It's not like this if there is no injustice or hatred. Inanimate planets, especially fixed stars, make the most sense. Whenever he absorbs a fixed star, the file size of world tree will increase by 1 point. Even the power contained in it is a little bigger. Finally, after finishing everything in this galaxy, Aili looked back. Wigwai, more than 300 fixed stars were all taken by himself. If you want to expand, you must go to other galaxies. Try your strength first. Aili still remembers her realization, the world is separated, and she wonders what it will be like. Could it be said that it can open up a world of parallel universes? Aili is a little unsure about this situation, but with his own strength, there will be no danger even if something goes wrong. Try it. After Aili decided, he immediately took out the space gem. All his divine power was squeezed towards the space gem, and the power of the gem bloomed in the next second. Control this power to bless the world tree. Then, Aili found the world tree back on himself. Directly tearing open the space in front of me. What he tore open was not the space of this world before, but a deeper dimension. What he wants to do is to find other universes, not to open up a pocket latitude space in his own universe. Aili glanced at the universe in front of her strangely and felt something was wrong. How come in perception, the vitality of the opposite universe is so underground? It's like a dead universe. For safety reasons, Aili went there immediately, but instead placed a time magic around, coupled with the control of reality gem. There's something wrong with this universe. Entering it, Aili closed the rift in the universe just now. This is his subject. The only advantage of what I did just now is that if I die here, in an instant, he from another original universe will recast himself. The combination of time magic and reality gem is cleverly used. The god's telekinesis swept around 110, and Aili found that the world was indeed out of sync, a little weird. In such a large galaxy, he couldn't see any life form, only lifeless matter. Aili jumped here teleportingly and quickly found the existence. What's going on at this time? Stopping in front of the other person, who did Aili see? Thanos. He has never met Thanos in person, but the purple sweet potato spirit still knows him. But why does the purple sweet potato spirit in front of me have red eyes and drool? Seeing Aili's appearance, Thanos didn't even speak. No, when he opened his mouth, he just opened his mouth and showed his fangs, trying to take a bite out of Aili. Bang! Aili raised his hand to block it, and Thanos bit him without dodging, then shattered one of his teeth. What the hell? Who are you? Thanos asked with bloodshot eyes when he found that he couldn't bite the other person. What's going on with you? Aili asked, but the other person obviously didn't want to answer. He kept asking who he was, and then kept his saliva and wanted to swallow him. Taking out the mind gem, Aili directly controlled the other party's mind and began to ask Thanos to tell his situation. After listening briefly, Aili looked strange. Good guy. This is the F-King zombie universe. Aili confirmed that the zombie universe, a branch of the Marvel universe, actually went to this ghost place. Now the entire universe has been overrun by zombies. Keep the coordinates first, it might be useful. Although they have all been lost, the planets and other forces in the universe are still there. This is a good base camp. Remembering the existence of this universe, Aili opened the cracks again. As for Thanos, he destroyed him casually. Drilling into the crack, Aili came to the next universe. This time, things get interesting. Chapter 127 Special Universe, Wonder Woman Diana. Advertise here. Here, isn't it Marvel? Aili felt everything around her and felt something was wrong. The law here is actually different from Marvel. He did not feel the power of the four gods, nor did he feel the energy of the people he was familiar with on Earth. It's a whole new world. Even the chi of those acquaintances he knew were completely different. Not a parallel universe. Where is this? After finding the location of the Earth, Aili moved directly to the surface of the Earth in an instant. It's still the same big city. The level of technology around us is similar to that of the Earth under normal operation before. Aili, who had no scruples, stood on top of a building in New York and looked around. And his appearance also attracted the attention of many people. After all, a person suddenly appears in such a position. And it's still floating. Who can't see it? Countless citizens stood and watched below. Some curious people even took out drones and flew into the air to film his presence. People above, please come down immediately, otherwise we will take coercive measures. I repeat, please come down immediately, otherwise we will take coercive measures. A row of police cars appeared below, and everyone pointed their guns at him. Some of them entered the elevator and started to rush to the top of the building. Aili looked for a while, but there was still no familiar figure. Everyone is unknown to him. Gwen's father, the chief, is no longer in the police force. Several helicopters appeared in the sky and began to take pictures of Aili. It's boring. Aili felt it. They were all ordinary people, not even a powerful being. Such a world should be an ordinary world. In that case, there is no need to pay too much attention. He marked the coordinates of this world and prepared to leave. The ordinary universe is also very convenient. If you have time in the future, it would be a good idea to come there and absorb the energy of the world here and raise your own little world tree. It won't affect the Earth in this world anyway. Aili was about to leave when he suddenly paused and looked at a location unexpectedly. There is a very powerful being rushing here quickly. Is that you? A woman wearing a simple armored combat uniform spoke to Aili. With enchanting figure and graceful posture. I have to say she is an absolute beauty. The face and body are absolutely excellent. More importantly, this woman's muscles are different from those of Wanda and Gwen. Her muscles are obviously much more perfect, not redundant, but they make her look very comfortable. This is a practitioner who has been practicing since he was a child. What? Lee was a little confused when the other party said it was me. Please don't bring inexplicable panic here, otherwise things will be difficult. Diana stared at Lee and said. She didn't see how the other party was floating in the air, but it was definitely not simple. So she wants to wait for the other person to leave. Not many people know about super powerful humans. She didn't want them all to be exposed because of the other party. It's okay, they will forget it soon. Lee replied nonchalantly. He can erase the memories of this group of people at any time. No need to worry about this. Well, it seems that we can't do anything if we don't take action. Diana didn't know what Lee meant, which meant that he wanted to kill Deadman. Then her hands touched. The moment the armor bracelets on his arms actually touched together, a burst of energy shot directly towards Lee. Lee was suddenly startled when he saw this fighting method. Looks a bit familiar, but then I felt it was impossible. Because the fighting method in his memory belongs to the DC universe, not Marvel. Is it possible? Etc. Lee was suddenly stunned. It was not impossible. Who said that traveling through the universe must be in the Marvel parallel universe? Seeing the other person's beam of light shining on me. Lee pointed casually. The light beam was extinguished and completely disappeared, as if it had never appeared before. What? Diana was stunned. She didn't feel any energy just now. How was the opponent eliminated? Soul. Lee thought about it and decided to take a good look at the world and not do anything in a hurry. Then the power in his hand was released and enveloped the entire New York. The next second, a burst of energy instantly covered them all, and they were all controlled by him. Eliminate. With one operation of Lee, everyone's memories, Zhao Nuo's, were rewritten by him. No one remembers what just happened, as if he never existed. The helicopters that were still circling around just now had no idea what they were doing here. The pilot controlled the aircraft and turned around to leave. What did you do? Diana looked at him in horror. Why is everyone leaving? This person is obviously still here. Don't you want to be exposed? I made them all forget what just happened to us. Lee replied. At the same time, a donkey in a distant town. Clark Kent was sitting at home watching the news on TV, and he also saw the live broadcast of Lee flying in the sky, which made him feel very warm. Some people can also fly. Chapter 128 Superman takes action, the god of the DC universe. Advertise here. Dad. After discovering this, Clark Kent hurriedly turned around, only to find that his father was not in the house. Mother. Seeing her mother in the kitchen, she must have seen this scene just now, so she hurriedly shouted. What's wrong? Mom, are you hungry when you just saw that man? That man can fly. After saying this, he looked at his hands in confusion. Like me, can fly. What are you talking about, Clark? You are thinking too much. Mother didn't believe it at all, but began to comfort Clark. She felt that her son must be too special, and there was only one person like him. So some lonely people have hallucinations and are hungry. Impossible. Clark must have believed that he could never be wrong. But my mother has no memory at all. Could it be that he was really hallucinating? At this time, Clark remembered his usual recording habit. Because there was a program that my mother didn't want to miss, she would record it in the afternoon so that she could watch it before going to bed at night. I hurriedly ran back under the TV and started adjusting channel 167. Within a few minutes, he successfully found the recording he just made. How come? It is true. Mother Martha almost broke the plate in her hand. There was actually a news broadcast on the TV. But I was watching TV just now, so why didn't I remember it? It's true. He can not only fly but also erase some people's memories, but I am not included. Clark was very excited. This meant that he was not the only one on Earth. Thinking of this, he immediately wanted to find his father. His father Jonathan can definitely give him some advice. So he turned around and took his mother out with him. When the two rushed to Jonathan's laboratory, they found that their father was also on the way back. But unexpectedly, an explosion appeared. All experimenters were included. Facing his father who was about to be unable to escape, Clark was very anxious. Because his father wouldn't let him show his power in front of outsiders, saying that if he showed it, he would expose himself. He will reveal that he is not an ordinary person, and he will be isolated. Clark won't be able to make friends. And Jonathan did the same. Facing his anxious adopted son, Jonathan stretched out a hand and made a gesture towards Clark. No, if it were before, Clark would definitely insist on his father's opinion and then watch his father die. But now, I'm not alone in the first place. This world is not that simple, there are more existences like me. If you can't even save your father, what's the point of everything? Thinking of this, Clark subconsciously pulled the clothes off his chest. Then he rushed towards his adoptive father Jonathan, flashed back in an instant, and put Jonathan beside him. You. Jonathan looked at his son in surprise, his choice was beyond his expectation. Who are you? From a cliff position, Wonder Woman Diana stared at Lee BCFB and asked. This guy's speed. No, it should be said that he moved instantly. 1 second he was still in New York City, and the next second he was on this cliff. Looking at the surrounding environment, it should be near Melbourne. How did this guy do it? Such instant movement is already the existence of gods. Even my cheap dad may not be able to do it, right? Lee, my name. After Lee answered, his eyes drifted to the sky. Diana also noticed this and looked over her head strangely, but found nothing. Then he looked at Lee. Where are you from? What is your purpose? No, I just came to take a look. I thought I would stay here on Earth for a while, but now it seems I can't. Lee turned around and looked at the sky, and then his whole person's momentum began to rise. Different from the previous relaxed momentum. Now he is more controlled and shrinks within a certain range. So this momentum only surrounds the surroundings and does not affect thousands of miles away. But Diana was among them. The powerful aura made Diana unable to even move, and could only look at him helplessly. What is he going to do? How could he be so strong? Also, what is he looking at? As expected, I was targeted as soon as I came out. It's an interesting universe. Lee knows that every universe has its own gods, some strong and some weak. For example, there are only a few gods in this universe who are strong, and most of them are just average. However, there is always one extraordinary thing. Just like this one who appears now. Rumble. At this moment, the sky was suddenly torn apart.